Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone is well. Hope everyone enjoyed mine and Sean's debate yesterday. We knew a few people would get all a little bit ratty. It's all for theatre, people. It's all for theatre. I'm seeing people in the chat already talking about the old Spurs versus Villa. Almost like they don't know who we are. Anyway. Good morning to everyone. Good morning. Where to start today? This is my last morning rant of the week. There'll be more morning rants on next week, Monday to Thursday, because Friday I'll be going on a stag do, so there won't be any morning rants then for a while. As long as everyone's enjoying their YouTube. So let's just start with one of the worst opinions I've just heard. If anyone wants to think that me saying that I don't think Spurs are necessarily more attractive than Villa, then here's one for you. Mr. Box Office this morning has told me that West Ham are more attractive than Spurs. West Ham. I'll let that sit with you for a little bit. If you all think I'm crazy about Villa, a team going that way with some very good players and a top manager, West Ham, I'm being told, are a bigger draw than Spurs. I've asked Alex to come on. He might do. He's working, so he might come on at some point. But it does make you laugh. Mike, listen, just so you know, if you're going to start off by being rude, mate, I will get rid of you immediately. Please don't start with the whole short man complex. I'm not that small. I'm not that tall. I'm just a normal height person. Please don't start with stupid things like this, Mike. I see you in the comments all the time. I see you. I see James Hunter. I see a lot of you are very, very niggly little cowards that won't ever come on and say these things to people's faces. However, good morning to everyone. There's 100 people in the chat at the moment. I'm sure we'll grow in the next 20 minutes or so. Only 30 likes. Smash that like button. Get the algorithm up. Who hasn't subscribed yet? I am 15 away from 5,700. Please smash that button. Put a question in if you've got a question. Put a Q before it. And then if you really want to ensure that everything gets read out, please do a super chat. So the news this morning... and this is the thing, Captain Cockrell said, at present, I agree that Villa and West Ham are more attractive. I agree. I think Villa are an attractive team, if much as anything as Spurs at the moment, for their trajectory, for the manager they've got in. They look to have everything in place. I think that we are an absolute mess at the moment. I've never said Villa are a bigger club. I just think at the moment they're a lot more settled. This is an argument that Sean and I had. Let's be really, really honest. We've got no way of ever knowing this unless we ever get a player that is head-to-head Villa against Spurs. So we've got no way of knowing this. All I know is that the players we've been bringing in, I haven't seen anything that suggests Villa don't bring in better players or players on the same level, if I'm completely honest. I think Villa have made some very good signings. I think Villa are a very good team. They are going that way. That's all I said. And everyone went mad. At the end of the day, I think what we get in football, we get a lot of fans that are so tribal, so very biased, so very, very biased that nothing about it. All I was saying yesterday, and by the way, Sean and I are good friends, so no one needs to worry about this. Sean and I always have these rows. You should see the conversations we have on WhatsApp. So when people are trying to put us against each other, it won't work. All I was saying is this, is when, if we're talking about Spurs being a more attractive club, how? Why are we more attractive than Villa? That's all it was. And everyone went absolutely mad. Lee, why would you like to talk about Basuma? We can. Absolutely. We can talk about whoever you want. Dave, it's all just theatre. Sean and I go at each other in our WhatsApp group all the time. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. This morning's news. Here is Perchie. That is this morning's news. It is Perchie with that is a wonderful fade from. I love that fade. That is, mate. That's the one. Your barber's got some techers.
He's got some
techers. How are you, mate? You all right?
Oh, I'm good, mate. I need a rant. I think that's why I've come on.
Listen, that's what we're all here for. We're all here for this. Peter, by the way, I was saying, I think, Perchie, maybe you can assure us, everyone thinking that Sean and I have fallen out. Sean and I have not fallen out.
No.
we have these conversations on a daily. The Aston Villa debate, by the way, big up Sean if you are watching. The Aston Villa debate was a continuation of a conversation we had a week ago.
Oh, don't.
A week ago, yeah.
I think just to sort of bring some clarity, guys, because people think what happens on stream is serious. It's not. It's two very opinionated people having a debate. We have these debates in chats and stuff like that, and there's no anger. Like, everyone's friends. We just are passionate about what we say. Would you rather us sit here and all be, oh, well, this, that, another? No, you like seeing it. So, like, listen, there's no one dislikes each other. Everyone's just got an opinion and they want to share it. And listen, it makes a good viewing because it
does indeed. And Danny, listen, if you're going to put something in the chat where you say, I'll debate that on here live if you want. Dude, I'm the right YouTuber to come to for that. I'm the right YouTuber. Savva offers up his forum to everyone. So, Danny, let me know in the chat you want to come on. What I was saying was, by the way, I don't think Villa are this amazing football club that are going to start winning millions of trophies and are the best team in the world. My point is, I think the players that we're after will be in the same bucket of players that Villa are after. I think that's where we are now.
Villa, I think I'm going to buy you a T-shirt that just has context on it, and you just point to it.
Context. All I'm saying is, Spurs are in a mess. We've got a lot of work to do, a lot to sort out. I don't think Villa are in a mess. I think since they got promoted, they've been going like that. The problem is because Gerrard dipped them like that, everyone thinks they were terrible. They weren't terrible. They had a very good group of players. They'd signed some good players, and then they brought in a top manager that molded them all together. Whereas Spurs are just an absolute mess of players that I'm told no manager can meld together, but yet we're more attractive. It just doesn't make sense for me. We can't, in one breath, Perchie, be saying how bad we are and need this massive overhaul. We've not won anything. We keep sacking managers, no director of football. Then the moment you give another club praise, it's, but we're better. It's like, based on what? That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Perchie, listen, today I would like to, the chat's gone mad already. Paul Hancock, thank you, has said, the grown adults in the room recognise that Savva talks pure facts. You can't please soft and sensitive people. Listen, Paul, I'm not always right. But what I will do is when I have a debate, I will always ask the question. And I will ask the question, why? I like analysis. I like to look at things in depth. Why? Lots of football fans like Danny, who will be too scared to come on, I'm calling you out, Dan, will just say, we're much bigger. All right, cool. Lay it out. We're more attractive. Okay, lay it out. Yeah, we have, Richard. No one's doubting that. But right now, I'm going to ask you this question, everyone in the chat. Right now, if you look at Villa and look at Spurs, who is the more settled football club?
Exactly.
That's all I'm going to say. Listen, I'm not going to get into it. Sean and I always go like that. You and I never would, Perchie, but
no, because I think a lot of what me and you say, we kind of align on a lot of what we say. Me and you, and before people start jumping in, I don't just say what me and Savva agree on a lot of stuff, but we don't agree on everything. But we have the same philosophy and the mindset and what it is. I think when we talk about things like Aston Villa, when we say that no one is saying that Villa are a bigger club than Tottenham and all that, and all this sort of argument. But you've just got to say, like, right now, we're probably on the same parallels with them at the moment. I think people thinking that we're this amazing football club that can blow Aston Villa out of the water. I think we're very similar, and I think that was the sort of. This is what I got out of the debate with you and Sean. I think Sean was more making to the point that club players would choose Spurs over Villa, whereas I think your argument was more in the sense of, I don't think it's as simple as that. I think if you had two players next to each other, a player next to and picking going Spurs, I think there would be a question. They might pick Spurs, they might pick Villa. I think it's not as simple as going, if both teams are going in for one player, he's 100% going to Tottenham. Because I don't think it's as simple as that. Because I think what you're saying is right. They've got a much settled team. I think they've got, at the moment, no disrespect to Postecoglou, but you could argue they've got the better manager at the moment.
Well, they've got an experienced winning manager that has gone in and is getting plaudits. Now, I like Postecoglou, but at the moment, Spurs have a lot of work to do. I'm going to put the link in the chat. This is for Dan E only. Please, if anyone else joins, you will not be allowed on. Danny, please have your camera on and let's have this conversation. I tell you where I think I went wrong yesterday, Perchie, and I know I did. I could feel it in myself. when I started swearing as well, I went wrong. But the actual question I asked was, when we're going to use the stadium as a barometer, all I've said is, have we signed anyone as good at this stadium as we had when we were in the old stadium? And for me, the answer is a resounding no. People keep chucking in Kulusevski, Romero, two players that have just had a bloody awful year. Like, there's nothing that suggests to me. So let's see. So when people say, is Villa more attractive right now than Chelsea? No. Chris, as I said, I'm not letting people on. Chris, I'm not letting people on yet. That link was for Dan E at the moment. That link was for Dan E, Chris. Anyone in the background, I will only let Dan E on for the moment. Chris, I'll let you on a little bit later, mate. Cheers, Dan E. We're waiting.
This is
context.
You need to put a T-shirt that just has context, and you just pointed it every time. Like, people miss it, but because Villa finished above Chelsea, it's not about league position. This is what people really miss. This isn't what we're talking about, league position. Chelsea at the moment are a club that have had a really poor season, but the context between that is that they spent a lot of money and they brought in, wasn't it 16 players? Am I right in saying? You'll probably correct me, or someone in the chat will correct me how many they signed.
I think it was 15 all in all. 15 new players, 15. New technical director of football, two new managers.
Yeah, and you're asking a team of individuals, ignore the money, because that's irrelevant in this conversation. You're asking 15 new players to go and say, go on then, mate. Go and get us into the Champions League. It doesn't work like that. Listen, we can all conversate that, but trust me, Chelsea will finish above Spurs and Villa most likely next season. Most likely. Because they'll have Pochettino and they'll be starting to settle down.
The thing is as well, is I think the problem is lots of football fans, I'm still waiting for Danny, by the way. The link went in. I'm still waiting for Danny. The problem is I find with a lot of football fans, Perchie, is we can't look beyond one season.
Yeah.
We can't look like everyone goes, oh, Chelsea are terrible. Well, I've seen Chelsea finish 10th before and then bounce back the next year and get Champions League and win the league. Now, I'm not suggesting they're going to do that. Yeah.
No.
I'm not suggesting that we're going to do that in any way, shape, or form. But what I am suggesting is there's a reason why these top players join Chelsea. Here's Dan E. Here we go. Danny, big up. How are you?
Morning, fella. How you doing?
I'm very well. This is going to be fun. So come on, Danny, give me a rundown. The floor is yours. Why right now?
Hang on a second. I'm struggling here because I'm hearing doubles. There we go.
Right. So as long as you've only got one app open, you'll be fine. Tell me, as we sit now, how do
I get the double off on here?
Oh, if you've got the stream open, you want to turn
Have you got the stream open anywhere else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn the stream off and just watch me and you.
There we go. Got it.
Yeah, perfect.
Right. One other thing, I need me tinted glasses for this, and it is medical reasons, by the way.
Listen, you're all good, man. Do what you got to do. So as we sit here on the 9th of June, why right now are Spurs more attractive to players than Villa?
Right. On a couple of points with what you said, yeah. I'll agree with most of it. Last season, I'd say that was their best season in 10 years?
Quite possibly,
Again, dates I ain't 100% spot on with.
We'll go with it.
Right.
Yep.
That was probably our worst season in 10 years. And they only finished above us by, what was it, a goal difference?
Yep.
Right. Now, the thing I see with it, at the moment, we are a bit of a shambles. No two ways about it, mate. I mean, I like the fact you speak your mind on it. Fair play to you. But Villa, are not more attractive than Tottenham. And it's got more to do than just football. With players themselves, obviously it comes down to money. And we've got that big other thing, because it is all in one, not just the football.
Here we go.
It's family as well. No, forget the stadium. London on its own is a major point. I mean, I take it you've travelled around England, yeah? Yeah? Most of us have.
Yeah.
You actually ever been to Aston Villa?
I've been to Aston Villa many times.
Yeah.
I've been to Aston Villa many times. But Aston Villa have always, over the years, had some top footballers that have gone to live in Birmingham. Okay, so let me.
It's
let's,
not the most attractive area compared to London.
sure.
Now, again, money-wise, they've definitely got some good owners now, yeah? They got a bit of money as well, but I wouldn't say they got a better income than Spurs. We got, from what I read, I won't take it gospel, we got the 8th best income in football, full stop. If we get a decent manager who wants to play decent football, I don't even think that team that we got is as bad as you make out. Now, don't think I'm saying good. Don't think I'm saying good. But if he would have changed that formation to what, let's say a 4-2-3-1, we'd have had a much better chance out there. It's like our central defence, I would say, is our biggest problem. Royale, he's not a winger. He's not a wing back. But as a right back, he seems to get his act together. If we'd have stuck Davies out on the left and then kept Dyer in the middle, even though he is a shambles, he should still be a defensive midfielder, which he wasn't bad at England for it at all, or Spurs, until we put him as a centre-back. And then Romero, bit dangerous. But then in front of him, you go and put someone like Højbjerg, Skip, then you got Basuma, Bentancur there, then you put Kulusevski in the middle, Richarlison on the right, which can cut in quite nicely, and he can do his job. Then you get Son on the left, and then once you've got Kane up front, and we change our attitude, I think you've got a more stable team there than you might realise. But it needs upgrading, and players would be able to see that unless they're blind to it, which they are not. And Spurs, at this moment in time, the way you're basically saying it, we're more attractive than Chelsea. Villa are more attractive than Chelsea? No.
That's not what.
Chelsea are more of a mess than us.
Well, no, Chelsea are not more of a mess than us. No.
At the minute, they are.
No,
I don't think they are. I think
they're not.
As I mentioned earlier, I think you've got to remember, like, with Chelsea, what Chelsea went and done last season and the last transfer windows under the new owners is they kind of done a rebuild in 6 months or 12 months, whatever you want to call it. So they went and spent loads of money on young, in quality talent.
That they did.
All across Europe. But that's not going to just work overnight. I think people.
No, it's not.
But so I don't think Chelsea are in a mess. I think they are. They're in a
but you just said it. No. You just said it, yeah? You just said that ain't going to work overnight. Now, the Spurs players know each other that bit better than that Chelsea lot. There's more chance that they link up next season.
No, there is.
Chelsea lot. So are you telling me that they can come in? Now you're contradicting your mate because he's just said that ain't going to work in a couple of seasons because they don't know each other.
But hang on. No. You've taken a point here and run with it in two different directions, right?
Well, give me
the difference is, but the difference. Okay, so the difference is this, right? I mean, if we're going to bring Chelsea into this, right? Chelsea
are bigger. Full stop.
Hang on. Okay, but hang on. If we're bringing Chelsea into this, Chelsea in the space of 6 months got new owners, a new technical director of football, 2 new managers, 15 new players, new scouts. Hang on, new medical staff, right? They had 3 different managers over the season, right? And had to mold all that together. It was never going to happen. Terrible season for them.
And it ain't going to work next season either. They will do better.
Hang on. But when you say it won't work, what does that mean it won't work?
It, like your mate said, it ain't going to take 5 minutes for them to get their stuff together.
But that's not an answer to the question. What does that mean it won't work?
All right, I'll give you that. In due time, it might well do work.
No, but I need to know what that means.
I can't really say it works.
I'm a man of context. What does it won't work mean?
Right. I don't think, unless their manager, Pochettino, gets it 100% right.
And he will. He will.
Why
Listen,
will he?
But I'm going to tell you why. This is what I was leading to.
He worked with a couple of big boys in PSG.
No.
And he got scored.
You've got
he couldn't handle it.
You've got a good point. Hang on. You've got a good point until you've gone down that road. That's the road that's going to ruin your argument. Right?
Okay.
Chelsea don't have what PSG had. This is the point that Perchie was making. This is where a lot of Spurs fans can't take off their Spurs glasses and look at this, right? Chelsea, of the 15 players they signed, 13 were 24 and under, right? 24 and under, without big egos, right? Okay. They weren't Messi's, Neymar's, and Mbappe's, which is what everyone throws at Poch that he can't handle. what Chelsea have bought, what they have built is lots of 20, 21, 22, 23, 24-year-olds that have all got really good engines, that are all coachable, that Poch will mould into a team. Now, what he will do this summer, we're already seeing him do it. All the older players are going. Right, all the older players are going. Aubameyang's going where he's going. Ziyech is going. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, if we're going to call him a bit older. Kovacic. Right. Plus, they have got Nkunku coming in, who is mustard. Absolutely mustard.
Totally.
They've got either Lukaku coming back or they will buy a centre forward. We know they will.
Lukaku is a flop.
Hang on. Okay,
in Italy.
Hang on. If we call, okay, do you know what? Again, I'm a man of context. Now let's look at this, right? If we're going to call Lukaku a flop, right?
For what he can do.
No. Hang on. If we're going to call Lukaku a flop, right? Lukaku has scored over 125 Premier League goals in his career,
and been kicked out of every team within 2 years because he just can't handle it.
So, sorry, when you say
kicked out to the standard, I say kicked out. He's been soft.
Lazy though.
When you say kicked out, do you mean he got a bigger move from Everton to Man United?
That one, yeah. But Man U, they even said at Man U that he just did not do what they wanted him to do.
Hang on.
But then he went back to Chelsea and they got rid of him double quick because he just did not have the mentality they needed.
Context, because Tuchel doesn't play.
Part of context.
Yes, but hang on, you've got to let me finish my points, honestly. Otherwise, this is pointless, right?
Go on, mate, I'll keep quiet.
Lukaku never plays in a Tuchel system. That is never going to work. Look at Lukaku when he plays in a Conte system.
Okay.
Yeah, it works.
Can I give you a point quick?
Hang on. Now, I haven't even said Lukaku will be there. They'll either bring him back or they will go and buy a centre forward, like a Vlahovic, like an Osimhen, like a Højlund, like a Gonzalo Ramos. The point is this: when Pochettino goes to Chelsea this year, he will do what he did at Spurs. He will have a young, hungry team that know the 11. You've got to remember, Chelsea had 3 different managers with 3 different formations, changing the 11 week in, week out. He will have them hungry. They will press. They will play once a week. And they have unbelievable talent at the club that Spurs don't have right now, which is my point, Dan. Right? No, when you look at it, Enzo Fernandez is pure quality. That boy is a serious footballer, right?
He's good.
Right. You've got Reece James and Ben Chilwell, 2 of the best fullbacks in the league.
Reece James don't count for me because Reece James hardly ever does half a season because he's got biscuits for ankles and kneecaps.
Hang on.
Again. So is their left back as well. They're good,
hang on.
Harry Kane plays more games than them too.
What's Harry Kane got to do with it? Right. But the fact is, they both play for Chelsea. Chelsea have right back and left back are 2 of the best fullbacks in the league. Badashili and Fofana, 2 very good young centre halves coming through, whilst they've still got Thiago Silva there to coach and cajole them. You then move forward into midfield. You've got Enzo Fernandez, and they're going to buy either Rice or Moises Caicedo. They will land one of them.
They're going to get one of them.
Right, they're going to get one of them. So now you've got either Rice or Caicedo alongside Enzo Fernandez, right? Now look at that back 4 I've mentioned, and look at that midfield 2 I've mentioned.
Right, on paper, it is solid.
Right, and Poch won't work well with that. Then add in Nkunku, right? Who is fabulous. He's a fabulous footballer.
He's looked brilliant from what I've seen.
Now we don't know what Poch might be able to do with Madueke, with Mudryk. We don't know. We don't know their capabilities. We don't know. But Poch loves a young player like that he can get his teeth stuck into, right?
High energy.
Now, look at Tottenham's team, right? Now look at Tottenham's team and tell me, plus, by the way, I haven't even mentioned what Chelsea are going to do in the transfer market this summer.
Who knows?
Right? They're going to buy a top goalkeeper. You know they will. They'll buy more midfielders because at the moment they're in the middle of selling 4 of their centre mids. Mason Mount, Kovacic, Loftus-Cheek, and there was one other going. It will come to me in a minute. Plus, they've got young talent like Chukwuemeke, who's there. He's a brilliant talent.
Chukwuemeke's really good.
So if we're going to bring Chelsea into the Villa Spurs debate, I think that straight away discounts it. Chelsea are not in more of a mess than Spurs.
Much bigger. Well, Chelsea's team last season were more of a mess than Spurs, yeah?
No,
Paperwork they got.
Chelsea-
I've got one
no,
player's
mate.
name for you. One player's name.
Go on.
Sancho. He was outstanding at Dortmund. Same as
I
Bellingham.
don't know what's he got to do with
Get
this.
my point. He comes over here to Man U. Useless.
But
You
again,
can't
context,
state for a
Dan.
fact. You can't state for a fact
Context.
they will do it. But Chelsea are
who
bigger than
have I-
Spurs, and
who have I
Chelsea
said-
have
sorry,
got a better team.
Who was the Sancho debate again? Who are you mirroring that with? What were you saying?
I mirror Sancho with any player, young player that comes over from abroad.
Then, so you're talking about Nkunku.
I'm
Have
talking
you
about any
seen?
of
Have
them.
you seen Nkunku play football?
Yes, I have.
Right. He is superior to Jadon Sancho in
Quality,
every
man.
way, shape, or form. Now, also, Jadon Sancho has come in to Man United when Man United, right, were all over the shop. Poch will sort that out. This is what Poch does. This was the perfect appointment for Chelsea.
But look at the new manager at Man U, and Sancho still don't get it right. I mean, did you watch the game? Obviously, with Man City and Man U.
But that's one player. You've got.
It's an example I'm giving of how a player can come over here, being quality abroad, and they just don't get it right in the Premiership. I'm not saying Chelsea.
Dan, do you know that 76% of the Premier League is foreign? So when we're going to use this argument that players don't come over and do well,
I didn't say they don't. I said
hang on.
No.
You don't know, but you do know that 3/4 of the league is foreign, so they do come over and do well.
I've got
think
one.
we're not. To think we're not.
I can't hear
sorry,
both of you at the same time.
To think we are that Chelsea are in more of a shambles than Spurs because of 1 year completely detracts from everything that's been happening at Spurs for the last 5, 6,
All right.
10 years.
I'll back off on that one. I'll give you that.
We've been going like that for years.
Fine, but then State and Villa are better attractive than we are off of one season. You're sort of
not off one
contradicting yourself
season.
now.
Not
Well,
off
it is
one season.
They've only finished higher than us one season.
Yes, but Villa that way. Spurs have been going that way. Trajectory is very important in football. Villa, this is a team that 3 years ago were in the Championship, or 4 years ago in the Championship. Villa have now put themselves together a good little squad that doesn't have a Kane. You think they finished above us without a Harry Kane?
I think we'd be better off without Harry Kane.
Hang on, but that's moving the goalposts, right? My point is this: people come on and go Romero, Bentancur, Kulusevski. They're all better than all of Villa's players. All right, cool. Then why did Villa walk us off the park twice? Play us off the park twice? Villa, why did they finish above us? Now the whole they only finished above us by goal difference. They've been in the Premier League for 3 years.
Yeah.
Look at their trajectory. Spurs have been a Champions League team for how long? And the last few years, we've just been going like this.
Totally,
like
we
this,
have.
Like this, like this.
But that one, I can answer for you. It's obvious. That team we have got there is not a defensive, out-and-out defence team. We would have been better off last season, I think, if we'd have even gone and played it like Leeds and said, you score 4, you score 3, we score 4. Because our defence is that poor. They say you focus on your weak points, but then you've got to focus on your strong points. Our strong points is attack. We should.
You mean our strong point is Harry Kane? Our strong point is Harry Kane.
Say that.
No, not just
Son
Harry
and
Kane.
Kulu. Son and Kulu have had terrible seasons.
Totally.
Right?
But Son has had one bad season over how many good seasons? He has. You can give him a bit of leeway here, yeah. He had
hang on, but do you know what I've noticed you do though? You take the point and you go in a different direction with it. No one's talking about giving Son leeway. No one's talking about getting rid of Son. The point was this: if you look at that Spurs team and think that we could play really good, attractive football and win more games than we lose, I don't know what players you're looking at, because I just named you a lot of Chelsea players that are very good. I'm looking at Tottenham, and other than Harry Kane and possibly Basuma, I don't care if any of them stay or go. I don't think any of them are that good.
Basuma, I think why he wasn't played was one of the most agitating things for me, because that player is good. Out of the top 6, he was the most wanted midfielder out of there. Everyone went off their head when we got him for 30 mil. He just didn't play Conte's style.
I completely agree with you.
I think Conte, honestly, I think Conte lost the team halfway through the season because they did not like his style. Right, so get my point here. Villa, you can look at them, and player for player, you can say, how shall I put it? I'm not the best with it. They're a more united team. Yeah, they're more blended together. Yeah, right. We get a half decent manager in. We don't know what this new one's going to be like. It's a gamble, but we've tried every other trick, so we might as well go back to the old school ways and maybe learn a little bit off of, it hates to say it, but what Arsenal have done. Yeah, and it's not going to be a 5-minute job, but we've already got a couple of players in there that are very good if you play them.
I don't think there are.
Way.
I don't think they're who are the very good players at Tottenham Hotspur?
Right. I think it's one. I'm be honest.
I think it's
Kane. Who's the one?
Harry
Kane. Think if we take Kane out, I think we play better as a team. Because once
Sorry, no, I'm sorry.
Right,
Harry Kane.
Let me explain it.
The season.
Yeah, I'm not denying none of that, but you didn't listen to what I said. I said we play better as a team. Once we've got Harry Kane on that pitch, it's like, right, we got the ball. Where's Harry Kane? Where's Harry Kane? Where's Harry Kane? Go back 2 seasons, or was it 3 seasons? 2 or 3 seasons when Harry Kane was out for most of the season, yeah? When he kept getting injured a hell of a lot.
When was he out for most of the season? Sorry, I don't remember this.
Wrong word, yeah?
When was he out?
He had significant injuries where he kept being out of the games.
So you're going back to
I'm going back 2-3 years.
No, you're going back 4 years to when Pochettino was here.
When you've got someone like Harry Kane on the pitch,
right?
And as all they look for is Harry Kane for obvious reasons, yeah?
Who are they looking for if he's not there?
When he's not there, they have to play more as a team. They have to work the ball into the box. Son done it for us last season. Not last season, season before, sorry.
No. Hang on. No, there's a huge difference.
If we ain't just relying on Harry Kane, I think we can do more as a team.
Right. Dan, we can do more as a team if we're not relying on Harry Kane, if we go and buy a team, right?
Yeah.
At the moment, there's a difference. When Kane doesn't play, Son steps up as a goal scorer.
Yep.
But for everything that Harry Kane gives you, Heung-min Son can't do that. Heung-min Son can't drop deep into midfield, get on the ball, dictate, spray the ball about.
No, he can't. I totally agree.
Right. Okay. So now if you lose Harry Kane right now, right, we're talking about, by the way, this is hypothetical, people. We're talking about with the current team, not with who we're going to buy. So last season, if you were taking Harry Kane out of that team, please tell me how on earth is that ball progressing from midfield through to attack to Heung-min Son? Please tell me.
I'll tell you. Change the formation to a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, I would say.
You've still got the same players. So who's progressing it?
Well, let me describe it and I will. It's personal opinion. You go stick Son up the middle, which is the one that could, I think that's where he plays better. I didn't think he worked very well cutting in. Right.
I agree.
I personally think you go and stick Kulusevski behind him. Now, Kulusevski isn't that quick. But one thing you've got to admit, he knows how to cross a ball, he can shoot if he wants to, and he also knows how to pass the ball. Get him sitting there as our sort of attacking playmaker sort of thing, as our number 10 even. I personally think he'd get the ball quite nice out to the left, to the right, or down the middle to hold the ball, because he's a strong player as well, who can play back to goal if you put him in the middle, because he did do that at Juventus a couple of times he did play. Put him as back to the goal, hold the ball, Son goes past him, he turns around straight over the floor like Harry Kane does.
Okay,
I think that could work.
Okay. So again, this is the problem.
And then Bentancur can get the ball forward. Basuma would play very good as a box-to-box.
Okay.
I agree. Our team is
the problem with this is,
and this is formation and tactics right.
This is what a lot of fans say. I think it would work. The problem is Kulusevski's never been a number 10. So what we're saying is
number 10 at Juventus. Basically, he's played in that position at Juventus.
Mate, listen, from what I've seen from him, he's far too slow and ploddy to play in that position.
I saw him played him as a number 10. I follow Italian football. Inter Milan is my second team.
Okay.
I
look at him. He has not got the legs to play in the Premier League in that position.
No.
I watched him against who did we just lose to? Brentford 3-1. Kulu kept tucking into the middle, and you saw the number of times the ball went up to him. He's dispossessed so quickly because it's not his natural game. He hasn't got the pace. He hasn't got the turn of fault. The problem with this is I cannot see at the moment how Spurs without Harry Kane would be a better team in any way, shape or form. Now, that doesn't mean I don't think we can build a team. I think what Postecoglou will do if Kane goes is he will build that team that allows that to happen, right? Mm-hmm. But at the moment, when we look at it, we're talking about all of these players we mentioned that aren't naturally attacking, threatening players who are creative. That's the problem. Kulusevski's creative from a wide area, right? Son isn't a creative force, is he? Son is a goal scorer, as you said, who plays on the last man of the shoulder. But Son isn't a creative force that can go, right, Kane's not playing today. Get the ball into me. I will make things happen. Yeah. And the problem is, it's not just last season. We've seen this year after year after year. But every year when we are bad, Perchie, we talk about this all the time. Every year when we are bad, we then get to the end of the season and fans go, no, I don't think we're as bad as we play. But they do it year after year.
I get you. And I totally agree with you, mate. I totally agree.
We still sit here and big up all our players that year in, year out don't perform.
Right. I get you.
When are we going to go light bulb moment? These players aren't actually as good as our fans think. And this is Harry Kane.
I agree. Same as Romero. I don't think he is as great as they make out. But I personally think you go stick a defender with a brain next to him who will give him the, like, slow down, boy, get your act together sort of thing, and give him something to follow. I think you'll see more of him. The point I'm trying to make to you is, this team is not great. But it is. I don't think it's as bad as you make out.
I really do.
Our last two
managers
just played out and out defensive football, and that did not match what we had. To get the most out of a player.
But I don't think we've got as much as I want a 4-2-3-1. I've been biting about it all season, as Perchie and many people know. But we don't. I agree. The more I've looked at it, and this is where we're allowed to move and pivot our opinions. The more I've looked at it, I don't think we've got the players to play it. I don't think we've got the midfielders that are capable of controlling a game, putting their foot on the ball and conducting play. I don't think we've done
it plenty of times when he was having a good game.
But do you know what?
Against the really bad teams, yes. Yeah. You put him in a midfield against the good teams, and Bentancur was nowhere to be seen.
Do you know
That's
what?
a harsh reality.
Do you know what the biggest problem I think we have at the moment? Someone said is that the problem we've got is our midfield. We've got too many of the same player in midfield.
Too many defensive midfielders.
Our midfielders are very similar. Højbjerg, he's amazing. Don't think he's amazing. I think Bentancur, I think he gets a lot of praise, but I think he's okay.
I think he's okay, but he's not spectacular. He's not what got said last night. He's a good player. He's better than okay.
He's a good player, right? And the thing is, do you know what football fans hate more than anything? Is if you don't chuck a superlative at a player, they hate it. So I think Bentancur is a good player. Yeah. I've not seen anything from Bentancur that makes me go, oh my God. Like when I watch, for example, if you watch a player like Rodri, right? If you watch Casemiro, Christian Eriksen, you watch. No, hang on. I'm just saying. You watch players like Enzo Fernandez. You watch these people when they get the ball, their speed of thought, how quick their feet are. Right? I watch Bentancur and I go, yeah, you're a good player. Mm-hmm. You're a good player. But I also look at him and think, I can understand why Juventus let you go. He's a good player, but for me, I always said this last year, and I don't know if you guys remember, right? Bentancur had a really good game against Leeds, right? He had a really good game against Leeds, and I believe it was the last game before the World Cup break, if I'm right. I think it was 4-3. Bentancur had a really good game, right? And this is the thing, it's what I always say, Dan. Nothing's up here, nothing's down there with most players. If we're going to talk about the Messis, we can go all the way up there.
Oh, that's a different story, isn't it?
But for me, nothing's always down here and nothing's always up here. The problem is tribal fans won't ever meet in here. So when I say, I like Bentancur, and I've said this a number of times, Dan, I like Bentancur. I think Bentancur's a good player. I think we have clearly missed Bentancur because the drop-off from him is Højbjerg and Skip. But when Spurs fans talk about Bentancur, we talk about him like he's this top centre mid that runs games, that is got this brilliant creative spark. I don't think he has. I think he's he's a typical foreign midfielder, Dan. He's technically very good on the ball.
Yeah. Yes.
For me, I think he's a bit leggy, again, if I'm being brutally honest. But I like him. I think he's very good, and I think he needs to be around some good midfielders. But he's another one that we go, He's amazing.
Yeah,
he is brilliant.
I don't. I'm a realist.
Not you.
No, I'm a realist, and I totally get what you say. Yeah, because the sad thing is, I mean, I ain't going to divert this too much, but the sad thing in life of being realist is being negative about a lot of things, because there's definitely a lot more negative about this than there is positive about this, and this is just being real. But Basuma, now for Brighton. He played box to box. He came back and defended, and he also went forward. And even though he don't look it, he's a lot more stronger than what he is. And he's also got a good pass on him.
Really good midfielder. Sorry, I think he's really good.
I think he's better than Bentancur.
Playing in the right system.
Yes, that is what I'm trying to tell you.
I agree with you. I agree with you on this. I agree with you on this.
We will get more out of that team. This is where I'm telling you. Yes, we are. I won't swear. We're in trouble, but the formations that the managers have used, it just has not worked with the players we've got.
Agreed.
Go and stick Basuma next to Bentancur. Have Bentancur playing as sort of like deep line playmaker as such. Just keep a little bit. Bentancur has got the stamina. He can also pass. He's also got the power to play box to box, forward back, and he's done it for Brighton the whole time. Then you get Kulusevski. Kulusevski, number 10, just stay there.
This is where I disagree with you.
Hang on.
I just want a different number 10. I've not seen this from him.
That, but at the moment, we haven't got a better number 10 unless we even took the gamble of putting Bentancur there. Yeah, because he can pass the ball as well. And then, all right, then you could get away with Højbjerg in the middle and Basuma in the middle. Change our formation, change our style. My point is, I don't think we're as bad as you sometimes make out. I am not saying we are good. I am not saying we don't need a total rebuild. I am not saying that we're up trouble. But get the formation right, get the manager right. Again, Conte, he's managed to go to clubs and turn bang average players, play them in their right position, and they look 10 times better. And then the next manager comes in and they go back to being a shambles again. Get a team right. Even if the players are all okay, you get them playing in the right formation, doing the right thing, doing in their right positions as a team, they will look 10 times better than a club with 10 times better players not playing their right system. I don't think Spurs have played
I agree
the right
and
way.
I disagree. I agree and I disagree. I think Conte gets players playing well for about a season. And then I think he gets them playing well for a season, and then you watch. That's never a long-term solution. This is what
he's
he does.
not a long-term solution.
Right.
I'm just making a point of you put someone in the right position and the right idea, you can make them look better than what they actually are at times.
Just quickly, Gaz, dude, you keep coming on my stream and stop this. We're just having a conversation about Tottenham Hotspur. If you're going to constantly keep coming on and saying this, no one's being negative. Spurs have just finished 8th, my friend, and have been going backwards for many years. If that's not factual, I don't know what is. So
it's
just
totally factual.
Stop with the not like Savva to be extremely negative. I don't get what fans look at. This is my point, right?
Since Poch, we have played defensive football. That team is not defensive.
Hang on. But in the same token, I don't think it's attacking either. I'll stand by my point. I still think this club has not signed players that are comfortable on the ball, that like ownership of the ball, that can keep possession and that can create. I think we've got players that react. Kulu for me is a reactive player with the ball. Son is a reactive player. Yeah. I don't think when you look at other clubs that can look at Arsenal, for example, their players are all comfortable on the football. They're all comfortable in possession for 3-4 seconds past someone else. Go and get it again. Since Eriksen, we've not got that player. Since Dembele,
we haven't got our playmaker since then too. I agree.
That is why I think it's a mixture of the two. But look, the problem is, right, this is the problem. I had this conversation with people at the beginning of the season about Brighton, right? I had this conversation with people in WhatsApp groups saying Brighton are a much better football team than Spurs with a better squad, but we've got Harry Kane, they don't. And I was laughed at. I was absolutely laughed at. Oh, my God.
I totally agree with you.
Right. Perchie, do you remember all of the, we've got Romero. They've only got Duncan Webster.
Yeah.
We've got Perisic. They've got Estupiñán. How'd that work out?
Perisic is not even a wing back, for God's sake. He's an attacking
hang
left
on,
midfielder.
But this is my point, right? When you actually sometimes look at squads, you can then look at our squad and say, if Kane was not that player, our squad is no better than so many of these teams. But you speak to Spurs fans and say, do you know what, Gaz, sorry, mate, you're just a dickhead. There you go, I called it. You're an absolute dickhead. You don't ever, do you know what I don't mind, right? Join in the debate, people. I.e. Dan joined in the debate in the chat. Yeah. He joined in the debate, asked to come on. Join in the debate. But when you just sit there saying...
And the thing is you're allowed an opinion. If you don't agree with it, explain your opinion. Don't just go, oh, you're negative, blah, blah, blah. Just explain your reason. If you think that what is being said here is wrong, use logic and debate to have a conversation. And I've said this about Tottenham this season. I said, without Harry Kane this season, we're no better than the teams that... And it was a key point you made as well, Savva, just to sort of add on to that. What we were discussing, when we were talking about the relegation battle a few months ago, and we said, what did one thing we say? What don't the teams down the bottom, what don't they have? They don't have a 15 to 20 goal a season striker. Spurs have a 30 goal a season striker. Without a 30 goal a season striker, we're no better than the teams down there, like the Palaces and all the teams at Wolves and all that lot. Because of the way we play, we're not good enough. Like, Harry Kane gets us over the line a lot of the time.
Well, I'll disagree with that one. Because, the point is we have got a striker that can do that. But when it was Son doing the job, he done it for us. So we have got back up to it. So that's just totally... and we still finished the...
How did Son score his goals? Context. How did Son score his goals?
Fine. But my point is...
I'm asking how.
He has just said, take Harry Kane out of it. We don't score goals. We're no better Palace than not. Well, agreed. We proved otherwise.
Because when?
Was that season before last?
Right. Okay. But hang on. The problem is here. Your answer can't be right if you're going to play his game. Perchie's game was without Harry Kane. Your game is Son scored all those goals. Who created most of those goals?
Kane does a good job. But again...
No, he doesn't do a good job. Harry Kane is a creative force.
I know.
We've got no creativity without Harry Kane, and we've got no goals without Harry Kane at the moment.
We haven't got that playmaker we need, but we do have some creativity.
Where?
I still think Bentancur playing as a deep line playmaker with Kulusevski in front of him. I'm not saying you'll get it perfect and brilliant as good as Harry Kane now, but you will get some sort of creation.
I just don't think it's dynamic enough. I don't see it in
Let me ask you to a question then. Let me ask you to a straight question. Simple answer, yes or no. Yeah? If we change our formation to a 4-2-3-1, do you think we will play better than what we played with 5 at the back?
When we have reinforcements, yes.
Well, are we saying without signing?
No. I ain't having
so the answer is no. So the answer
is no.
What do you think? If we changed our formation,
we're saying with the players that we've got right now,
you don't think we would play that little bit better?
I don't think we do.
I've got to disagree on that one. Yeah, I'm not saying we'd be a top 4 club, not at all.
I
think we would be better.
But we have to build.
Do you know what the key I agree.
And the key worry is, and it was one thing that me and Savva were massively against, by the way, because we hated it. But I came to the realization we can't play with a 4 back at the moment with the players that we've got. I don't think we can play a back 4 at the moment at a level consistently to even with the players. We need to buy a better left back and a centre half next to Romero, so he doesn't go absolutely berserk and start killing people on the pitch like the way he does. Like just goes crazy on, and the problem is, and that's the key part. I think defensively we're not gonna. I also don't think actually with the 2 DMs, who's mobile enough in those 2 DMs.
I wouldn't play it like that. I'd play it as Bentancur and Basuma there, because Basuma can play box to box. He can cut back and he can go forward. Change your formation, change your style. We will see.
But Dan, with one of those 2 though, one of those 2 has to help defensively. And if we're saying Basuma's box to box, he'll be more.
Can I make the obvious point here? Sorry, as well. There was a 3-month period when both Basuma and Bentancur were injured. Now the problem is, this is what when we talk about 11s, when this is great when we go, well, this will be the 11 and we can go forward. Problem is, the moment you don't have any players behind them that can also play that system, imagine we did that. And I'm not knocking it down. I can't see any reason why not. You don't go Basuma, Bentancur. I don't like Kulu in if I'm really honest, I don't want Kulu there. I want to.
I'd say he's our better. I'd say he's our only option.
I agree. He's our only option right now. But let's go with that triangle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Problem is this: Bentancur and Basuma got injured at the same time. You've now got Skip and Højbjerg in there that played most of the end of the season.
Yeah,
right?
Now we're totally screwed.
Now you're screwed. And this is the problem, this is what I always go back to that people always knock me for. The squad has been built so poorly that it's so lopsided. We have got about 15 defenders.
I totally
I'm not
agree.
saying they're good. We've got about 15 players that either play right back, wing back, or centre back. We've got hardly any midfielders than the ones we do have. None of them have got a creative bone in their body. And then at the moment, we've now got 3 forwards on our book, 2 senior forwards on our books because Kulu technically isn't a Spurs player. So when you look at that, that's 5. So that's 2. We've got 2 forwards at this club. 2 at the moment.
Yeah.
I know people will go, oh, Lancashire and Donnelly and Scarlett and Parrott, but let's be honest, right? We've got 2 senior forwards, one of which there is talk of going, right? The other of which has just had an awful season, right? In midfield, we've got our best midfielder, or arguably our best midfielder who's the most comfortable on the ball, has been out for the last 5-6 months, isn't coming back till December, and we don't know how he's going to come back, right?
I personally think
Dan.
he'll do a VVD and he's going to come back damaged.
Hang on. But this is my overall point, right? So you've got the 2 forwards where there's question marks, right? You've got 4 or 5 centre mids, right, where they're all very defensive or box to box. None of them have really, other than Basuma, got a really good engine on them, right? And the best one technically is on the sidelines till December, and he might not come back how he was. Even then, I didn't think he was amazing, but he might not come back how he was. Now you've got loads of centre-backs that can't defend. You've got hardly any full-backs at the clubs, and you've got lots of wing-backs that are either very good going forward, good defensively, that can't do both. So now when people have a go at me and call me negative, look at that squad I've just showed.
No, you're being realistic on that one. Totally agree with you.
Absolute. Whoever, and by the way, this isn't Conte. This isn't Jose. This is a mixture of managers for years, directors of football for years, and Daniel Levy for a number of years. So when I turn around and say it's a shambles, and I don't think that's very attractive, people want to get really defensive and go, oh my God, but we've got this player. I think it is so unbalanced. It is so full of players that can't run. And then to bring this full circle, guys, in fact, Dan, I appreciate you coming on. To bring this full circle, when I look at Villa, I don't see an unbalanced football team. I don't see that they buy overwhelmingly in one position and not in others. I don't see that there's lack of harmony. I don't see that they've got the manager now who's a top world-class manager. They've got their director of football's been there for ages. The owners have shown time and time again they will back managers and put money in. For me, it's context. When I weigh all of that up, am I saying Spurs are worse than Villa as a football club? No. But right now, I look at it and go, weigh all of the ducks up, and they've got their ducks in a row. We need to get our ducks in a row. That's all
totally
I'm
agree.
saying. And people go,
Villa are more united. And I totally agree with, I'll say 90% of what you say. And the reason I like you on here is because I've complained for so many years that most of the Spurs people who do their bit on here is, if I'll be straight, they're dry lunch. That's why I've always still find watching League Gunner quite amusing. And I like the way you just say it how it is. And I agree with most of what you said. But Villa are not more attractive than we are. Not yet.
Right now, let me ask you right now.
No, let me
right now.
Let me
right
finish.
now, you don't think they're more attractive than us?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Because
if we can get it shown that we've got a half decent manager, and you've also half agreed with me that if we do change the formation, we will be better, and then we add to it, because 5 at the back was just not us. It just did not work. Yeah,
agreed.
Change that
we
formation.
didn't have the players to play the 4, did we?
I personally think we'd have let in less goals with 4 at the back than bloody 5 at the back, because half the time they were so much on top of each other, they didn't know whether they were coming or going. But my point is, we get playing the right formation, you'll see more out of the players. You'll see them play better. I'm not saying we will be top 4, but we will be better than what we were. Then we add to that, whether you want to say it is or isn't, the stadium does have something to do with it, which personally I don't feel we've bought decent players since we got it.
I'm just waiting. I need someone, Dan, to explain that. I need someone.
An attraction.
I need someone to. But I need somebody to show me
London on its own. But I'm telling you why Spurs are still not far ahead of it, more attractive than Villa. When you bring family into it and everything else to do with players and everything, Spurs do have this advantage of excellent training grounds, excellent stadium. London as a whole is more attractive than Birmingham. I don't care what anybody says.
Okay, so we're going location.
Yeah? Right, hang on a minute. What I'm telling you is that does have a call in the attraction. Now, if we get a decent manager and play the right system that works, and a couple of players realise that with, say, another 3 or 4 players, we can go up a level, not top 4, because this is going to take a couple of seasons, yeah, like it did with everybody else. We have got so much potential at this team, that this club, that it is a jar.
Can I just say, from everything you've just said, the problem
Aston Villa are still not more attractive than we are. Not yet.
The problem is, Dan, everything you've just said, and I don't know if anyone else in the chat heard everything you just said. Everything you said was if, right? Notice how I'm talking about now. I'm talking about, look how the clubs are run right now. Look how both clubs are right now. Everything you said was, if the manager does this, if we get a good formation, if we buy the right players, the potential of this club, no doubt in it.
I'll give you that one.
Under different owners, Tottenham Hotspur should be one of the most attractive football clubs in world football.
Totally agree with you.
Under different owners, I think the stadium is attractive, and this is where I will meet people halfway in debates. Under the right owners, the stadium is attractive, but I look at the stadium right now, and as I said, as I was trying to have the conversation with Sean yesterday, where I lost my shit a little bit, which wasn't good, but hey,
you did.
I'm sure people enjoyed watching it, right?
My wife said it was a cat fight.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it's all good fun, right?
It was a laugh.
My problem with this is I haven't seen the stadium do anything for us yet. I keep hearing it. I haven't seen it do anything.
I get your point.
What I've seen is a stadium that is hosting world-class artists sing.
Yeah.
I've seen a stadium that has hosted the best boxers in the world box. I'm seeing a stadium that's watching the best NFL teams.
Yeah.
NFL, I don't know the word, right? I'm watching a stadium that is brilliant for everything, but so far I've not seen a single player come through the door that I've gone, that's the stadium, that is. That's the stadium attracted that, because we're attracting less caliber players than we did when we were at White Hart Lane.
Right. Okay. Right. Let me give you a point here. Yeah. You're saying we're attracting less caliber players than we was at White Hart Lane. I'll agree with that. But you and me and the other fella here, sorry, I can't remember your name.
Perchie.
We don't know what goes on behind the lines. We don't know what goes through the players' heads. We can only presume. I could turn around and say this, you could turn around and say that, and he could turn around and say but, and we could all be right or wrong. We don't know this, yeah?
Sure,
but
of course.
You cannot sit here and tell me that players don't think, it's 50-50, I think. You've got players that do look ahead, and you've got players that want it now. Like the managers, Conte wants it now.
Yes.
You've got other managers that look ahead for a year or two.
Yes.
Now, a couple of, I'll say, younger players come in, say 23, 24, even 25. They might actually be able to look at that and see, do you know what? There is some potential there. If I come here and do that and they get that right, we can go somewhere.
I agree. We agree.
It is all with some buts, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
There is an attraction there with that stadium. There is an attraction with
I don't know how those two things link. I'll be honest. I agree with the first half. I don't know the second half.
I'm saying it all adds up. And for the wrong reasons, yeah, which I'll agree with you on, we are still more attractive than Aston Villa for the wrong reasons.
But Dan, I just with the stadium thing, just quickly with the stadium. I do you know what? I'm just listening, just sitting back listening. I kind of get your point, but the thing is you've got to bear in mind is the stadium is down on the list of things. Let's be honest. If you were playing in a 5,000 seat stadium, but and it was Man City's team for argument's sake, you're going to go because you have a chance of winning the league. Do you know what I mean? I think the stadium. I think you put the stadium quite high up on the list. I don't think it is. I think
no.
I think the way it's us as a club, we're not. I don't think the stadium. I think if, for example, let's just be honest, have we got a better stadium than Newcastle? But Newcastle are more likely going to attract better talent because they've got a better standard of football.
Agreed, and that's what I want to move on to in a minute.
My point is, it does have an attraction. I'm not saying it's right up there as
I agree.
Main thing in that.
I agree.
But there is an attraction to it, and there is an attraction to the other things. Yeah,
it should.
You add everything up together. I personally believe, for the wrong reasons, Tottenham are still not far at the moment, but we are still more attractive than Aston Villa.
Can I ask, if you were a player, right? Actually, it's pointless me asking this. I'm asking Spurs fans. If I'm a footballer, right now, that doesn't, we talk about young players, and that's what I think we need, and that's why I think we need patience.
I agree, 100%.
That's fine. I'm not talking about attracting young players, right? Can Spurs attract young players? Of course we can. We're Tottenham bloody Hotspur. I'm talking about, can we attract top players? Can we attract better players than the caliber of Aston Villa?
Yes.
Now, okay, but when I look at the signings Aston Villa have made in the last 3 or 4 years, I look at their signings and go, they've made much better signings as a football club than Tottenham Hotspur have.
But that is not what you said.
But they play in Birmingham.
Right. That is not what you said. Yeah. Let's take it back 2 footsteps. You said, can we? And then you drifted to they have. Now, if we
what can we and they have what? Sorry, what?
Can we and have are 2 different things, yeah?
With what? Can we what?
Right. Can we attract top players?
No is the answer to that question.
If we get the right bloody fella to go out and look at it and pick the right players and we offer some money, we can attract them.
No,
but we've got to get the right people to spot it and bring it in.
Now we're going down that route again. We're going down that route. See, this is the problem.
You said, can we? I think we can.
Right, okay. But again,
if we do it the right way.
Right, but this is where it's so painful with Spurs fans. Everything is passion and I think. Right.
Well, you ask, can we?
Right, hang on. Right, okay. Can we? Have we? The answer to both is no, right? If we look at this realistically, again, I keep seeing people in the chat, right, saying, just go and buy top players. Just spend the money. Just offer the money.
It's not as simple as that.
I don't think people understand the world of buying footballers, right? At the end of the day, right, I keep going back. I don't want to go back to this again, but if we go back to the Bastoni thing, people just say, we didn't even try. Well, of course we didn't try because Bastoni
there was no point.
Bastoni told us he didn't want to join.
Right? You're talking about a world-class defender there.
Again, look at these idiots. You get Savva, you're so negative. You're happy for the standards to drop. I'm not happy. No. That's where we are.
It is where we are, and I totally agree with you.
But if we infuriating.
Can I just say, this comment comes up not just from this person, but from everyone. Listen, the standards, I don't control the standards of the football club. Savva doesn't control it. Dan doesn't control it. What are people not getting? The football club is where the football club is. I've always said it's a food chain. At the moment, Tottenham are at a position at the food chain where we can't go and eat the best food at the moment. Why can't people understand that? Sorry, it drives me insane. Sorry,
we're not being realistic. We are not up at the standards of other clubs. We don't even touch Newcastle at the moment. Because Newcastle has got more potential there than we have.
But this is my point.
The thing is, but we are still more attractive than Villa.
Oh, okay. If we're more attractive than Villa, can I just know, in the last few years, who have we attracted that's better caliber than what Villa have?
Right. But we got to get the right person to...
No, hang on. Right. So what you're saying is, if we get our structure right, we're more attractive, is what you're saying, Dan.
That would be a big part of it, yes.
Right, because every time I ask a direct question, this is what happened with Sean yesterday. Big love to Sean. If I ask a direct question, no one can actually give a direct answer. What they do is talk about the future. And I agree with you for the future. But right now, yeah, I'm watching, like last year, I watched Aston Villa bring in players like Moreno at left back. Right? Yeah. Very good left back. I'm not seeing Spurs sign anyone of that quality. Right?
We haven't gone for no one of that quality for a left back.
But then how can you turn around and definitively say we can attract better players when we haven't?
How can you turn around and say we couldn't if we don't bloody go for the right players?
But okay, and then I'll bring it back to who? What top players are we going to sign whilst we are where we are right now?
Where? Go on.
No, I just wanted to put a bit of context into the conversation. Okay, so last season, Aston Villa signed Diego Carlos, Philippe Coutinho, John Duran, Leonardo Dendoncker, Alex Moreno, Robert Olsen, and Boubacar Kamara, and they also got in Ben.
They got some good boys.
Before that, Luca Digne. They signed
Luca Digne. I was just using this season,
right? Do you know what I mean? Like,
and these top players they got finished above us by 2 goals.
Because their trajectory, context, Dan. This is the problem. Context. Look where Villa were coming from compared to where we were.
Right. I agree. My whole point is change our bloody formation and bring in a couple of players, and we will be up there.
That's the future, Dan, not now. This is my point. Now.
Yeah. I'm trying to make a point here from last season's transfers from Aston Villa. Aston Villa's transfers from last season were no better than what we signed, is my point what I'm trying to make. So when we say, Spurs were a better outfit, Spurs were more attractive, but based on historical transfers of the last maybe 2 seasons, they've signed the same sort of level caliber that we have.
Yeah.
As I said, Diego Carlos walks into our defence. Philippe Coutinho walks into our midfield.
No chance. Not a chance. Come on. Sorry, Aston Villa hardly played him either. He's overrated.
So
Liverpool. No, I'm catching you out on Coutinho.
A club without a playmaker.
When he left Liverpool, he's gone to shambles, and at Villa, he's
gone to shambles. He's gone to Barcelona and Bayern Munich. He's gone to shambles.
Yeah, and what did he do? And what did he do at Barcelona? Not a lot. What did he do at Bayern Munich? Not a lot.
What do you mean he didn't do a lot?
By the amount he was bought for, he really did not live up to standards.
But what does that mean? What does that mean? What's that got to do with Tottenham? Are you telling me a club
Coutinho, I don't think would get
Dan, hang on. This is where our fans lose me. We are a club without a single creative footballer other than Harry Kane. We don't have a playmaker.
He's our most creative, without a doubt.
Well, hang on. And haven't had a playmaker for 4 years, yet Philippe Coutinho wouldn't get in our team. This is madness.
I don't think he can make a Premiership anymore. I don't think Coutinho would. He's one who I'd just say wouldn't. That's a personal opinion.
But my point being is we were in from Coutinho at the same time. By the way, we said no, we didn't want a creative player. But my point being is and this is Tottenham's transfers. I'm just trying to put balance and context to the conversation. We signed Richarlison. I think if Villa went in for Richarlison, I don't think there'd be much difference. Romero, who I think's been okay.
This was 5 years ago, Darren. This was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Romero,
they were in the championship.
He's definitely slipped down, but the boy has potential.
But my point being is the players that Villa have signed and the players that Spurs have signed, for me, I think they're on an even playing field. I don't think we've signed anyone on those lists. As I said, Richarlison, Romero, Bissouma, Porro, even likes of Perisic, Longley. I look at it and go, I don't think they're the sort of players that I go, well, they would never go to an Aston Villa. That's my point I'm trying to make here.
I totally get your point.
Yeah. So when we say, Villa, we're a much bigger outfit and a better thing than Villa. Well, we look at the signs that we've made, and that we look at historical. We have to go historical because we can't talk about the future because the future.
Who knows what the future holds?
Hang on, let me bring Paul in. Let me bring Paul in. Let me bring Paul in for a little bit of a break. Paul, obviously, look. First of all, I just want to say I think a lot of the chat don't look. Please, two of these, one of these. Hang on, dude. You need to put yourself on mute.
Call and rearrange that for us, please.
You have to do it. No, I have to do it. So.
Make a phone call and rearrange that for us, please.
Right. Dan, just so you know, when you take your headphones out, we still hear everything. You've got to mute yourself if you're gonna. Just so you know,
it's all right. It's all good.
It's all good. Paul, I'll come to you, but I think a lot of people are not actually listening. Everyone's making out like I think Villa have the best squad in the world. I truly don't believe this at all. I truly don't. But my point is this: for a club like Spurs that apparently are a big draw that can attract, I don't think we've signed better players than Villa have. And Villa have finished above us, having been in the Premier League for 3 years. For me, they're going that way. We're going this way. I know it's not popular, Paul, but why? The question I'll ask you is, why does everyone think that we can just suddenly sign all these top players? Why does everyone think we're attractive?
Well, I'll give you a politician's answer because I really don't know too much. Yeah. I was just thinking of when was the last time we signed a top player, like a tippity-tip top player. And I think, okay, I could go back to Klinsmann. He was probably just over the hump of his career. Paul Gascoigne, he was on the rise of his career. So even though they were both great players and we've signed lots of players that have become great or were great, I think you'd almost have to go back to the likes of bloody Jimmy Greaves or someone like that before, you could say Spurs have signed the number one person in the world at the moment. We haven't done it for so long.
Ginola was probably the last one.
Ginola was class, wasn't he?
Okay.
But I get your point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it's something we make a habit of, or we haven't made a habit of, really. Anyway, I mean, comparing,
we make a habit of creating what superstars is actually what we make a habit of.
We've got lucky, I'd say. We've got lucky a few times in recent years. We've also been very, very unlucky with a lot of our signings as well. So that can go either way. But I mean, whether Spurs are attractive right now or more attractive than Villa, I suppose I'd have to say Villa are more attractive because they're in Europe, really, aren't they? I mean, that's what it comes down to for me.
And they've got a top manager, Paul. They've got a top manager. They've got They've got a squad in place that is not imbalanced. See, the thing is for me, Tottenham, this is the frustrating thing for me, Paul. Tottenham should, for me, right now, overwhelmingly be more attractive than everyone in that league other than the big four. We should be overwhelmingly more attractive than all of them. But the problem is, our fans want to say on one hand, we've been so badly run, the owners are crap, we're crap, we don't have all these players. Then the moment you try and bring that into context bubbles, people go, yeah, but we're still more attractive. Okay, everyone's acknowledging how badly we've been run.
Yeah.
Now, if everyone can acknowledge how badly we've been run, Paul, do we not think that the footballers out there, the scouts out there, their advisors, they all know how badly we've been run? They're all going to see that Jose and Conte have come, failed, gone. They're all going to see that Harry Kane might be leaving this summer or next summer. They're all going to see that Spurs don't have a number one keeper. They're all going to see that Spurs are an absolute shambles. But our fans acknowledge that. Everyone else in the world acknowledges that. But then in the same breath, our fans go, oh, but we're attractive. Based on what? I don't know what we're attractive based on.
Maybe the age of the player would have something to do with it as well. Like maybe a 22-year-old player might find Spurs attractive.
That's the point I said earlier.
22, yes.
But if you were like peak, 25, 26, you're coming towards the peak over the hump of your career. You'd probably be going to a club that's already up there. I mean, I could say, with my optimism, I could say that with Ange in charge, I think in maybe 2 years we would be a very attractive club. But right now, 2 years is a long time in someone's career. I'm not really sure that we're at, and really that doesn't bother me either, because I think Ange and whatever they're putting in place, I think we can. You don't have to buy the top most expensive players. I agree
with this.
You have to make a team work.
I think Brighton are showing they're trading their way up. You know, we've still got way more spending power, but if they keep buying and trading and trading and trading, they're going to have more and more money in the kitty to spend more on bigger players. And we're kind of ahead of them already. It's just that we haven't been recruiting so well. So even though I think we're not, you know, that, and I think you're right, we should be the most attractive out. Well, I think we should be, you know, even, you know, maybe the third most attractive if all things were equal. But I'm not really pessimistic about that as well. I think we've still got an opportunity to do well. You know.
No, we can. Of course. The thing is this is the point that we're trying to make. Of course, we can get it right. I think this is where the sort of conversation sort of moves from ifs to nows, and that's the thing. This is what the sort of conversation that we're trying to make here. Right now, I don't think we're an attractive football club at the moment. I think
we're not disgusting, though. On the other hand, you know, we're not like hold your nose and go to the toilet or anything like that.
Of course not.
You know,
but what we need to do, and you hit the nail on the head there, Paul. Absolutely bang on. Instead of talking about players, we need to build a team.
Yeah.
We need to, and a team maybe, and we look at Arsenal as a grand example, and I hate using it, but it's a great example.
But it is
Arsenal,
what it is.
I don't think Arsenal have got a world-class player in their team. But what they've done is they've built players. They've brought players and built a team.
To work as a team.
Well, whereas
the players that aren't world-class, they've made them play better as a team.
Of course, because it's all about a team.
So
we've got a world-class player, but we play terribly as a team.
We focus on that world-class player too bloody much.
I agree. I do agree with you, Dan, on this.
I think we have to.
Dan, you've been watching my shows, right? You've been watching my shows,
yeah,
right? Where I've turned around and said that last season, of course, right, we were a mess. And I've said for years that Conte was never the right guy because this is not what he does. We've now got a manager in that builds. If you're going to get rid of Kane, now is the time when you have got a new manager, a new director of football, get in young players, build a team, and let's stop all talking about Kane. I agree with you on that. What I would like to say is just really quickly, this point here, by the way, to be fair, I should probably go for some super chats and stuff. Guys, please like the stream. Please like the stream. We've already got 119 likes, so please continue to like. I've lost 3 subscribers during this show. We're only debating football, right? So I now need, if there's 345 of you, you're watching for a reason, whether you like me or not. I bring on gits and guests with different opinions. Please subscribe. Help me get to that. Help me get to that 5,700. Here's Sean to prove that Sean and I are actually friends. And the super chats.
Hello, Sean.
Just quickly, guys. Super chat. Santu, big up Santu, has said the new stadium is the worst thing to ever happen to us. It has killed our atmosphere and it enables these shambolic owners to make a ton of money. Big up Santu, always a big supporter of the channel. Thank you. And look, I mean, that conversation could rumble on for a 24-hour special. Jamie Allen said Spurs will finish ahead of Brighton or Villa. Listen, I'm not saying we can't. I'm not saying that at all. I think Villa are going to have a difficult year in terms of balancing Europe and the Premier League. I'll be interested to see the type of players that they bring in. We've already seen the type of player they're trying to go for in terms of Asensio. And this comment, before I bring Sean in, this comment for me is the interesting one. Now, leave is the reason we don't buy top players. It's not that we can't attract them. Now, what I believe, Gaz, is I believe this is true from the seasons when we were flying high on the Poch. I believe at that time was the time where you had to go and buy the attractive top players in world football. That was the moment when we turn around and we go, guys, look how attractive we are. We're moving into this great stadium, right? We've been in Champions League for 4 or 5 years in a row. We finished second and third and made a Champions League final. We've got Harry Kane, Son, Dele Alli, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Dembele. That was the time where I go, we're attractive. The problem is, for me, I don't care about the Aston Villa thing. Take Aston Villa out of here, right? Now I look at Spurs and go, what of those selling points can Spurs take to a top player? Forget Villa, forget competing with them. What one of those selling points, Gaz, can Spurs take to a player now and a top player goes, yeah, I want to join you. Now, Sean, I'm going to bring you in here. I'm going to change tact. My mouth's getting dry. I've talked so much. This is what Fabrizio Romano has said this morning. Okay? This is what Fabrizio Romano has said. So this isn't me. I'm not guessing. This is what he said. Let me share my screen. So I think everyone should be able to see my screen. Let me know if you can't.
Not yet. Now?
Right. So he has turned around and said, right, that Tottenham and Newcastle are in the race to sign James Madison. He's set to leave Leicester. Negotiations will take place soon. Postecoglou asked Madison, but Newcastle are working on this deal since last summer. Now, Sean, for me, if Spurs get that deal over the line, I think that is superb business. But more than that, I think it shows a statement of intent. But my question is this to you, Sean. Are Spurs, I'm not going to bring up the Villa thing, are Spurs in a better place to attract James Madison than Newcastle? If we go toe-to-toe with them.
Look, it depends on what's important to the player, right? And this is why, not to get back into the thing from last night, I just literally popped on to say, just to show everyone that you and me are obviously we go toe-to-toe, and we always have these little momentary tiffs and stuff, and then we obviously just get straight back into it. Tomorrow's another day. Let's pick another argument between each other, whatever. It's all good. It's all for theatre. It depends what is important to the player. Now, with regards James Madison, on the face of things, you could make the argument very easily that Newcastle have a lot more to offer in this moment, this snapshot in time, because they got Champions League football, and their owners probably are willing to spend more money on marquee signings. Like I saw João Felix is linked to both Tottenham and Newcastle today, and Aston Villa, funnily enough. I don't believe that he'll go to Tottenham or Villa. I think he would be.
If he goes to Villa, you're in the mud, Sean.
100% in the mud. 100% in the mud, right? And if he comes to Tottenham, then it's like the vice versa.
Yeah. If he comes to Tottenham, I'll turn up with a face pack of mud on my face. I promise.
Same. All right, same. I'll do the same.
I agree.
Villa. Right, but I think he'd be more likely to go to Newcastle, because I feel like that's the kind of marquee signing, right? James Madison, though, he intimated, or at least the kind of the ITK, the IT don't knows, have said that one of the important factors for James Madison is his wife wants to live in London, right? So again, like it seems like the point I was trying to make yesterday is that there are things outside of specifically where a football club is at in the moment of time relative to your competition that do weigh up on the pros and cons list. If someone like James Madison is sitting there saying, should I join Tottenham? Should I join Newcastle? The money's the same. What other things are important to me? European football, the likelihood of not just European football this season, but in future seasons will be a factor. How much game time am I going to get? Right? Do I have an immediate space, or am I going to be competing with someone? Like I've always said, I feel like it's difficult for Tottenham to attract a top striker to come to Tottenham when he knows that Harry Kane's
straight in the team.
Right? So a goalkeeper, David Raya, probably might choose Tottenham over Chelsea because he knows he's going to play every minute for Tottenham, whereas at Chelsea he'll be on rotation with Pepper. Cool. So there's competition for spaces is a factor. The manager's a factor. The style of play is a factor. The city, obviously, is a factor. Do people want to live in Newcastle versus living in London? That's a factor. And I also would add to that list things like where people spend most of their time playing for that football club is on the training ground, the facilities. Newcastle's facilities is like a shed. It's like, I know they're going to spend £1 billion or whatever it is on revamping all that stuff, but currently Newcastle's training facilities is like an under 14s local rugby club's facilities. And the stadium.
Do you believe that? Do we truly believe that the training ground comes into play?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like it might not be as significant, as important a factor.
But it does have a say in it. It does have a little say in it.
It has,
even if it's only a small say, it has a say in it. Like I think what the fellas just said, it all adds up, and it is not just down to football. If the wife turns round and says, "I don't want to live there, I want to live in London," and the money's the same and that, he might want to go to Newcastle, but there is that chance. Happy wife, happy life. It goes Spurs.
Daniel, I get that. I do. I think if we're talking about those sort of variables.
More casinos in London.
So that I'm not clipped later. And I didn't realise Strasbourg Steve has just said that they have built their new training. I didn't realize they've just built it. Okay, so maybe the training facilities thing is a moot point.
Yeah,
but I do think how many times have you heard players say it's an amazing experience to play in a stadium like this? So I do think the stadium is a big draw.
I agree, but you hear a lot of those, and this is me being the skeptic, by the way. This is me being the skeptic. You always hear that after they've signed. You never hear that.
That's a good point.
You never hear news.
That's a good point.
You never hear that story before they've signed. Going, oh, like you hear that because it's good. It's obviously you're going to big it up now that you've signed, of course.
Yeah,
so
but you're not.
I don't know why. How often would a player that hasn't signed for a club? How often would Harry Kane talk about the stadium at Real Madrid? You know what I mean? Like it's only going to be a thing.
That's just a skeptic in me. But my point being is I think. I'm saying it's a variable, but it's a very low variable. If we're talking about the other variables at the top, are all balanced out. Because when I think Dan, it was you said, if we pay the same as Newcastle, I think Newcastle will outspend us for the likes of Madison. If their agent goes to Newcastle, well, Spurs have put down, keep it simple, 100 grand a week. They keep it simple. We'll go. Well, we'll double that.
But
we can easily double
Newcastle
that.
That's
not what we said.
When it comes to salaries, though, salaries are part of the new FFP, the 70%. Well, this season is 90%. But over the next 3 years,
offer on salaries.
They can't at the moment. They can't, right? Until all that Newcastle United can do now that I'm 99% certain this is true. There's an element of doubt in my mind, but I'm pretty certain that owners can only add in external revenue to the tune of £100 million a year. And over the next 3 years, the FFP rules dilute down to the maximum you can spend on the combination of transfer fees, wages, and player agents fees.
No, you're right.
Is 70% of your revenue. And Newcastle's revenue is nothing like Tottenham's right now.
Right.
So
let me
there's an argument to say that
let me make a point.
Let me
make a point here on his side. Technically, if you do some right checking up on here, I might be 1 or 2 teams out, but we are in the top 3 teams of what legit can spend the most money.
Wasn't that EBITDA?
We can do.
I hear this sort of thing every year.
And the thing is, we don't know the but we can do it. We can offer more money than actually Newcastle can offer a player for wages. Because legally, we can do it at the moment. Give it 2 years' time, we ain't got a chance in hell with them, and nor is pretty much any other team. But technically, at the moment, I think it's only actually Liverpool that could legally offer more wages than we could. The fact that we don't, yes, I know, but at the moment, we're talking about what we can do. And again, going back to the James Madison thing, you add everything up. What the whole point I've been making this whole time with us, Villa, whatever, is those other bits outside of the football do have a big say in the matter. And because they do have a big say in the matter, right, so if you Sav, let me ask you a question.
I don't think a training ground makes you join a club that's going.
No, it's not just a training ground.
Okay, but when we were talking about the training ground, I don't think anyone's going to look at Man City and go, "I want to join Spurs over Man City because the training ground's like a day out at a spa."
Oh, come on, mate. That's a poor comment.
Okay. I don't think it makes anyone join Tottenham over Man United, whose training ground is crap as well, by the way. I don't think anyone's going to go, I'm going to join Spurs.
Right. But we ain't talking about Man U. We ain't talking about Man City. We ain't talking about
what
Liverpool.
We are talking
We're talking about Villa and Spurs. No
one's talking about Villa. No, you've got to move on with the times, mate. You've got to move on with the times. We're talking about Newcastle United. Now, this comment, right? When Spurs get Champions League most years, we say it doesn't really attract players to us. But now Newcastle get it 1 year and suddenly they will attract players. Come on, guys. Again, No, Dan, this isn't a fair point at all. Because again, the big C word, please, Perchie, get me a baseball cap and a t-shirt saying context. Mark, the difference between Spurs and Newcastle is very glaringly obvious to see. Spurs get Champions League and Daniel Levy doesn't want to attract that type of player. Yeah, Daniel Levy's never, ever pushed the boundaries for all those years in a row when we get Champions League to attract that top player. There's been no project to say, we want to win a league. Newcastle United have the richest owners in world football that have come out and said, this is our aim. They have come out and said that I believe what they actually said was within 3 years we'll have Champions League. Within 10 years we'll be winning leagues and Champions Leagues.
Yeah, but
right?
that's a different point to the comment, mate. The comment's
no, it's not
about the ambition. It is because you're talking about the ambition of the owner, and the guy in the comment is talking about just the draw of Champions League football in and of itself.
Right, but hang on. But it all goes hand in hand. Newcastle will go to any player now. So not any player. They're still not going to be able to bring in players like if they go toe-to-toe with City, they're not getting the player. But Newcastle can go to players like they already have with the Kieran Trippiers, with the Alexander Isaks, with the Bruno Guimarãeses. And they can go to them and go, hi, here's our project, by the way. Here's what we've done in 18 months. We're already ahead of the curve and got Champions League football. We are going to make Newcastle the biggest brand in world football. This is our aim because all we care about is winning. Daniel Levy has never, ever made that a statement of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Daniel Levy makes it about business, right? Yes. These owners will show players we mean business. And players right now are going, hang on, yeah, Newcastle are going places. Huge difference between
maybe they are, maybe they're not, mate. You're making just like words out of the chest. No, mate, you don't know that. Again, you're making assumptions. You don't know it, mate. How Newcastle
right on this one, mate. Sorry, Sav's right on this one.
How Newcastle are going to handle 2 games a week is an unknown entity. How
not just for
Newcastle
1 year,
to juggle,
Sean. I'm talking about no one's talking about 1 year. People will look at their project because theirs is a real project and go, these guys are going somewhere, right?
You're assuming that. You don't know that.
Okay,
at least
Sean, give me an example of somebody that's been taken over in this country by billionaires like this that actively say they want to win things and win leagues, and it's failed.
Aston Villa. They haven't done anything yet.
Sorry.
Aston Villa is a completely different level to Newcastle.
Just ahead of Aston Villa.
It's at the moment. Hang on. This is a completely different level, Sean. We are talking about, look, when Man City were taken over by sheikh billionaires, right? Man City's owners look at Man City. They went on that journey. Chelsea, Roman Abramovich, gone on that journey.
Yep.
Newcastle, what are we seeing? What have we seen to suggest and what they're telling us that they will not do everything in their power to compete at the top level of football in the next 3, 4, 5 years.
The thing you're overlooking, mate, is that whilst Newcastle's owners on paper have got $1 trillion of wealth in the ground, if the rules are adhered to and considered, Newcastle United have to create the revenue legitimately to be able to spend the money. They can't just do 500-600 million quid on any player they want all the time. It's not Saudi Arabia.
But 2 years in the Champions League, and they will be able to do it. That is the thing.
They haven't yet, Sean.
What do you mean they will be able to? How is Newcastle United all of a sudden going to create $2 billion of revenue? How are they doing it?
I'll answer that question for you. How did Man City do it? Man City basically sponsor themselves. They basically sponsor themselves with their little companies on the side, Man City
and the rules around that have changed. The rules have changed around that.
Yeah. And I'm sure they'll find a loophole in it. Look at what Chelsea are currently.
Manchester City are currently getting
a loophole.
What loophole? What loophole have Chelsea found? Playing 8-year contracts.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's a good move on their way, but they found a loophole in the law, and Newcastle will find out to do it. And they have got the best type of owners on this planet to make money. And know how to.
It's the snowball effect. I think nobody thinks about the snowball effect, right? I'm not saying for 1 minute that Newcastle are going to win a league or a Champions League next year. That's not what I'm saying at all. But if we're talking about what players want moving forward, you want a big top stadium with great atmosphere. Newcastle, tick. Right?
Newcastle are probably the best one you can go to.
Right? Newcastle is a lovely city. If anyone's ever been to Newcastle, it's a great place. It's a good nightlife. It's good ambience. It's really, really nice, right? Newcastle also have the richest owners in the world that will make it work. These owners make things work. What will happen is right now, the more they go, the more they grow, as they shift players on and bring in better players, the players before that weren't a lot of money will be big value. It's the same thing with Chelsea.
Yep.
Chelsea this summer will probably sell about £200 million worth of footballers, right?
If they can get money in. It remains to be seen, right?
But they would, mate. They're already selling Kovacic.
You speak in certainty, Sav. You speak in certainties.
Hang on. But I'm trying to explain to you. So,
Kovacic, Mount.
hang on. Is Kovacic going to Man City?
We will see.
Maybe, yeah, probably.
Right. Okay. Well, Fabrizio Romano said that it's a day away from
Chelsea was a bad example there. Chelsea was a bad example.
Hang on. Can we stick to one point at a time? Kovacic is going to Man City, right?
Yeah.
Mason Mount, Man United have put down a 60 million bid. If that goes through, then there's a club that have got the money to pay for that. Aubameyang will go somewhere. Ziyech will go somewhere. Ruben Loftus-Cheek has been bought by AC Milan.
You're assuming, mate. And I'll point to Tottenham Hotspur that have got 250 million pound of players they can't sell because Europe is broke.
I'm not assuming.
Kovacic
is going. Kovacic
no,
is
the
going.
others. You just said Ziyech will go somewhere. Aubameyang will go somewhere. You're just assuming all that stuff.
I tell you what, I'm not
saying you're wrong. I'm not saying it won't happen.
Okay, I'm trying to explain to you. You won't listen. I'm not assuming it. Fabrizio Romano's just said there are 3 clubs in conversations with Aubameyang to go to Saudi Arabia, wherever he's going.
Yeah.
He will be sold. That's a no-brainer. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is going to AC Milan. Kovacic is going to
We'll see how
Man
much money
City.
they raise, mate.
I think you're missing a point here, Sav. I think you're missing one point here. Let me make a point quick for you. Right. The problem Chelsea are going to have, and it is going to be a little problem, is they need to make a certain amount of money to cover what they've done. Everybody knows what Chelsea have done and the money they've spent, and they also know they're going to have to clear a load of players to make that revenue back so they can make it legit. Yep. Now everybody knows that player's worth, let's say, whoever, worth 50 million. The clubs are going to offer 30 million for it because they know Chelsea are desperate to sell.
No, Chelsea aren't. Listen, I think when we're talking about desperate, Chelsea have done this for years, right? The same way when people tell me, Man City, look how much money Man City make in player sales, right? These clubs always, for years and years and years, in the background are selling players 20 million, 30 million, 20 million, 30 million. Yeah, but when they go every now and then and put out a massive lump, people go, how are they spending that?
Yeah,
well, first and foremost, they've been selling players for years and years and years. Second of all, they've got income. I used to work for Chelsea Football Club. Second of all, Chelsea have got revenue streams away from football that goes into the football, right? Mm-hmm. It's not just all clear cut as, they've spent 600 million. What are they going to do?
They get the same revenue as Tottenham do.
I'm sure they do, but they're a proper football club that want to win things. So there's no conversation there.
It is
right?
what it is.
But the point is this. When Man City started, it starts to snowball. You bring in a couple of good players like Newcastle have. Not extravagant. Newcastle bought in Trippier, solid Premier League player. Bruno Guimaraes, who joined the revolution. Alexander Isak, Dan Burn. What will happen is, as they start bringing in more players, some of those players from before will start getting sold for 30 million, for 40 million, for 50 million. Maybe. Then as they start bringing, they will. That's just the way football works. Every club does it.
Of course they will. Then
apart from Tottenham,
but it's a different situation to what Chelsea are in at the minute.
Because Tottenham haven't upskilled anyone for how long?
That's the key one.
When did we last upskill a footballer?
We can't sell players for 20% of what we spent on them because Europe is broke.
Yes, but who are we selling to, Sean?
Your theory
Sean, who are we selling
every
to?
One of those players goes into the Premier League.
No, who are we selling to, Sean? None of our players we're talking about. The Ndombele. Hang on.
Can't tell anyone.
The Ndombeles.
And we can, but we ain't even going to get a third of the money from them.
The Ndombeles, the Lo Celsos, the Winks, the Sanchezes. These players will not attract interest from the bigger clubs with money across Europe.
No,
other clubs, look at Chelsea. They're selling to Man City. Chelsea will sell to Man United, to AC Milan. These people will sell to clubs that can generate money because their players aren't as bad as the crap we've bought. Yeah, that's the difference.
We can't sell anyone though, mate. We can't sell
because
anyone.
They're crap. Because they're crap.
We can't give them away. We can't give them away.
Yeah, because we put them on huge salaries. Because we put them on huge salaries.
That's the whole point Sam's making.
That's the point. Sam brought that point from me. I made that point about the salary problem a long time ago. But Tottenham can't get rid of the players. I don't understand how broke Europe is. It works if you can sell players into Premier League. It works if you can sell players to the very, very top clubs in 2 or 3 situations outside of Europe. But I don't know if Newcastle will be able to sell
Twitter,
Joel Linton, Longstaff.
Do you have Twitter?
Fabian Schär.
Do you have Twitter, Sean? Do you have Twitter?
I have Twitter. Yes, I do.
Right, I don't
really
have Twitter, but what I do have in the background right now is I have Fabrizio Romano's Instagram page. Twitter page. All I'm seeing is players going all over Europe right now, being sold here, there, and everywhere. So as much as we're saying there is no money in Europe, everyone seems to be moving clubs. Everyone seems to be buying.
You say everyone, mate. Come on, there's about fucking 400 clubs in Europe. Fabrizio Romano is mentioning about 3 transfers a day that may or may not happen. 4 transfers, 5 transfers. We're talking about thousands of players here. Thousands. You're talking about a tiny percentage. Okay, so that's a ridiculous assumption.
So RB Leipzig have just offered for Fabio Carvalho this morning. There's one club, right?
And Leipzig have put £30 million for Loic Openda from Lens or whatever, isn't it?
Yeah, as well. Valencia have just bought a player this morning. We're saying Tottenham and Newcastle are going for James Madison.
You're going to demonstrate your point by going through every single player in Europe that is currently linked with a player.
No, but the thing is, these clubs are putting in
Sean, it's just a snapshot.
But these clubs are putting in bids. I understand you think there's no money in Europe. I think that's
that's not what I'm saying. There's no money. Come on, mate. Again, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. You know, you always call people out when you don't repeat exactly what people say. But like,
what are you saying then about Europe?
The extent of the financial situation in Europe is broad. It's wide sweeping. There are a handful of clubs. There are a handful of clubs in Europe that have financial wherewithal to be able to get on board some of the costs and the structures of the players that you're talking about around the Premier League. I'll take the point that the very highest players that Chelsea have may be able to find very highest clubs, but people like Longstaff, when he needs to be improved on, people like Fabian Schär, when he needs to be improved on for Newcastle to go on this ridiculous journey to winning the Premier League that you're talking about.
Sold for decent money. I bet they're sold for decent money.
We'll see. And I'll wear the mud pack if I'm wrong on it, but we'll find out.
It's always been the test of time. It's happened through the test of time. The problem is Spurs have bought so badly. We have bought so badly, put players on massive salaries that take Davinson Sanchez. If we give Davinson Sanchez away on a free, right? He's on 85 grand a week, right? Somebody
the only
still
way
has
he's
to
going is if we just
agree.
cancel his contract. He's one of
But
them.
hang on, Dan, but this is my point. Someone still has to pay him his 85 grand a week unless he as a player turns around and says, I will take 50 grand a week. That's the point.
Or unless we cancel his contract, that's the only other way, isn't it?
Yeah, but if you cancel
but Dan, even if you cancel it, you've got to pay the contract off, and somebody
that's what I mean. We can't just cancel it. I understand that. That's why we're not going to. I can give an example here, yeah? What has happened over the past 5 years, basically? 5-6 years ago, we are where Arsenal are now, and Arsenal were where we are now. It's just been a total swap over, basically, yeah?
Agreed.
And basically what Arsenal had to do was buy their contract out and get rid of them. And that is what we're going to have to do with some of our players.
Agreed.
Some of our players we might get 5 million, 10 million for maybe if we are mega lucky. But we're going to have to do the same thing. And it's going to take a while to get our shit together. Simple as that. But it is what it is. We ain't going to be able to sell the players. Half of them, we are just going to have to cancel their contracts basically and pay them out. And then that's their problem to deal with it after. But then that's obviously money coming out of our revenue. That is the situation we are in at the moment. That is our biggest problem. Over, £200 million worth of loans out there. And we couldn't give half the players away. That is probably one of our biggest problems right now.
Kovacic to City. Look, I agree with everyone. I mean, Barry, welcome to the show. It's great. We just chat anything football we want for hours. It's just good fun in the morning. It keeps the heart rate going. Madison, Spurs versus Newcastle. This was originally the debate. What's more attractive? Is it Newcastle's project, which is going like that with all the money in the world? Is it Spurs who have to start from scratch, basically, with a new manager, new director of football, talking about 10 players in, 10 players out? Do you think we get James Madison over the line?
No. No. I mean, look, what's the fee? 50 million or something for someone that's been injured. That is look for me. I don't think is he better than what we've got? Yes. Is he what we need for the future? I don't think he is.
Really?
I think Madison could do all right for us. Better than what we've got.
Yeah, I'm saying he's better than what he's got, but what we've got. But what did he do last season in a Leicester team? You argue that he's their best player.
Okay. What did Harry Kane do last season in a Spurs team?
And we scored 30 Premier League
on how
goals
crap
in
it
the
was.
team.
On how crap it was because he's a world-class attacker. Now, Jamie Madison ain't world-class. I think he's very good, but he ain't world-class.
Right. Just to answer your question, Barry, what did James Madison do for Leicester last season?
Yeah.
Is this a throwaway comment without actually doing research like Mr. Box Office?
He played pretty good last year considering how poor it was.
Leicester got relegated. So
he's one player. He got 20 goal contributions in 30 games for a team that got relegated.
That is the point I'm making. Even though Leicester were that poor last year, Madison still had a good season.
Are we truly saying that James Madison isn't what we need? Like, are we truly saying that?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I wouldn't be. I'm not fussed. You sit there and say
I'd rather João Felix,
but I'm not.
No,
fussed.
I'd rather Madison over.
You're just taking another snapshot, Savva, again, like you were yesterday.
No, don't you go there, Barry. Barry, you've just turned around and said, what did James Madison do last year with his 20 goal contributions in 30 games?
He actually had a good season.
All right,
had a good season.
Done all right, but
he's done all right? That's bloody brilliant, isn't it?
Not if your team gets relegated, no.
But, right, so, so every player that gets relegated, they should never move. Like it's their fault.
No, I'm not saying that. But if he's got 20 goal contributions, what's he? He's supposed to be a senior player. What's he doing with the rest of the team?
Well, it shows you that he stood up and no one else did.
Barry, I've got something. We talk about teams that got relegated. History will tell you players that get relegated end up going to big teams. Nathan Ake, Andy Robertson. They got relegated, and then they went and became
not a big team
in the world.
So he's not going to come, is he? So it's kind
Steve Perryman, Glenn Hoddle, they got relegated. They stayed with us.
Not a point. Yeah. So when I always battle against anyone that says about the relegation argument, because for me, good players stand out with relegation teams.
Yeah, I'm not. But what does that matter if you get James Madison with those defenders? It doesn't make a difference, does it?
No,
we need a playmaker.
Have you turned into Mr. Box Office overnight?
He ain't that bad.
Barry Box Office.
Have you turned into Mr. Box Office? Like no one's. Sorry, are you assuming then that we buy James Madison and then just don't fix the defence? Don't we need a playmaker as well as defenders? Like, why are the two linked?
Yeah, we do, but we're not. But the point
is, we got to start somewhere, haven't we? We got to start somewhere.
And a goalkeeper first, not bloody James Madison.
But if Madison's there on the market, Newcastle want him as well.
Whoa! One of you. There's four talking. One. Hang on.
I'm laughing.
Well, I reckon if we're going to spend, I don't know, say 150 million over the summer, it's probably going to be nearer 100. But whatever the figure is, I would not want to see 50 million of that go on James Madison. I would prefer to shore up the back first, and then in next windows tackle the bits ahead of them. We need to sort out a goalkeeper and centre backs before we do anything.
I get your point.
I'm absolutely baffled. I'm absolutely baffled.
Savva, we don't need to worry about it anyway because Ndombele's coming back, and
for a club with zero creativity, I'm baffled how we look at England's best playmaker and say, no, we wouldn't want. It is baffling. I'm sorry. I'm baffled on this.
Sometimes when something's on the market, you go out shopping and you see a still. Even if you haven't quite got the money, you find the money and you get it. Fine. We need a goalkeeper. We need defenders. Jamie Madison's on the market. We go for him first because he's there. Take him. Get him. He's a very good player and he's everything that we need up front. And then we go back and focus on what we need at the back because Jamie Madison was on the market now. So you go and snatch him.
That's fair.
Make me wrong or right.
That's fair.
But we don't do that. We don't go and do that.
We're obviously trying to do it at the moment because that's what we're debating whether we should go for him or not. And it's saying we have. But will we get him over Newcastle? I think the only advantage we have over Newcastle is what London. I said earlier. Happy wife. It's not even that one. Happy life. Happy wife is the big one we've got with Jamie Madison. His wife wants to come to London. That is the only thing that we can really attract.
Can I just ask as well? if Harry Kane goes, for me, James Madison then becomes the priority for this football club.
Agreed.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Because if
Massively.
Harry Kane goes, we now have Kane is the creativity. I just can't understand if a playmaker that has got, by the way, 20 goal contributions last season, 20 goal contributions the season before, for a guy that's got 40 goal contributions in the last 2 seasons for a Leicester team, if we don't want to pay 50 million for him at Spurs, we may as well all
give
pack up and go home.
Yeah,
That is
well said.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you.
The only thing I'd say about creativity, and I might be completely wrong on this, is that we've been playing such a turgid, probably shouldn't swear, a rubbish style of football that we probably don't know how creative some of our players are. I mean, Sarr, Basuma, Bentancur, maybe.
none of them are, though, are they? None of them have ever been at any. We do, because we've got history. If you look at their previous clubs, they're not creative forces. They're not naturally players that get on the ball, play in the hole, dictate like Ericsson did. Sarr's a defensive midfielder.
He can knock him in around the box as well.
Can he?
Basuma is our better option for midfield for that one on his box-to-box job. He's got quite a good direct ball on him. He can do a bit of everything, basically. And yes, I'm a firm believer. Stick Kulusevski as number 10. We will get something out of him. Stick Jamie Madison out. Stick Jamie Madison up there. Kulusevski can go do one. Jamie Madison would be exactly what we need there. For even if we put Richarlison up there, he would still be able to set up Richarlison for 10, 12 goals. That is how good I think Jamie Madison is. He's the best playmaker. Right now. He's
the best English playmaker in the country. He's England's most creative player statistically.
I'll go with that.
In the last 4 years. Statistically, he's the most creative player in the country, English player in the last 4 years, other than Harry Kane.
So if he's on the market now, snap him up now. And then concentrate on your defence and goalkeeper. When the deal's there, you've got to take it. If we can get him.
Even if you look at Yves Bissouma, across Yves Bissouma's entire career of over 250 games, he's only ever had 3 assists in football. Surely we've got to be like... Isn't this the problem, though, guys, that we've been doing this for years and years? We keep trying to pigeonhole players into positions where they aren't. Surely we've actually at some point got to go out and go, we need a playmaker, let's buy one. We need a defensive midfielder, let's buy one. We need fullbacks that can defend, but surely we've got to, don't we? I don't know, is it just me? Or...
Yeah, we should have got someone, as soon as Ericsson went out, we needed a playmaker there. The only way we've got an out-and-out playmaker next season, if we don't go and get one, is if we play Harry Kane as an out-and-out number 10 and put Richarlison or Son in front of him. And that is that. That is how we will have an out-and-out playmaker. But Jamie Madison, as Sav said, is the best English playmaker out there. He is on the market. Go for him. Otherwise,
my question to all of this was, can we get him? This was the bigger thing. Can we get him?
I'll be honest.
Does Newcastle come in and blow us out the water?
Newcastle can offer more. But
there's loads more casinos and nightclubs and strip joints in London. Madison be right up for all that, won't he?
No.
Plus, if Paul comes over here like he promised on the group, given his old the Chiswick roundabout, then of course he's going to come.
I think with James Madison, I think Savva, you made a good point about it. If you're going to go and do James Madison and you want to get him in, you've got to do it quickly.
Yeah.
You've got to do it before. You've got to go under the radar, get a bid in, get it accepted, and get that player to agree terms on what he wants before anything else comes in. Because I'll be honest, if Newcastle come in, Newcastle's a better pool than us right now. And whatever people want to say, he would rather go and play Champions League football at Newcastle than playing, regardless of where he lives, let's be honest, he'll be playing Champions League football at Newcastle. He won't be playing in Europe at all at Tottenham. That's the massive difference.
Yeah.
For me,
have you ever had a night out in Newcastle, by the way?
I haven't, no.
If we're talking about strip clubs and party places and stuff, it's not bad, right? It's not a bad place.
Newcastle is a quality place.
We're talking about it on the football basis, though, specifically. Like, Newcastle has so much more to offer us than we do. And listen, for me, I think if we can't get James Madison now, I would get rid of, not worry, and go to Bristol City and sign Alex Scott and say, do you know what? We're gonna make him to be the next James Madison.
I agree. I think we've definitely got to get someone like that. Just quickly, Adrian Chia, big up for the super chat, said Messi went to the MLS doesn't mean the MLS is more attractive.
I give up. Honestly,
I mean, really?
I don't really think when we bring Lionel Messi into conversations, it should have any bearing on Tottenham Hotspur.
Messi can do whatever he wants, by the way.
Yeah.
And you know the actual reason do you know the reason why he went to the MLS, by the way? I actually read his interview. The reason he went to the MLS, Adrian, is because he said, I will not play for another European team unless it's Barcelona. And he also said, it's a good life for me out there in Miami.
And also, Perchie, the fact he's getting a percentage of all the shirt sales.
Yeah, I was going to say, he basically
that's another reason, right?
Yeah,
and he's been there, done it all now. He's just looking at the good times.
I'm going to get paid shitloads of money as well. Also helps.
Yeah, but listen, I don't think, let's be really honest. Let's blow that theory out the water. If Inter Miami had come in for Lionel Messi when he was at the peak of his powers at the age of 25 to 30 to 34,
he weren't a team at his peak.
He's not going there, is he? He's just won the World Cup. That boy should be in strip clubs all over the world right now.
He's been there, done it, got the storybook, and he's gone out for the good time now. Fair play to the fella.
Do you know what I think we're going to start?
Savva, the one good thing, just touching back on Madison, he's on 110 grand a week, so
that's all right.
Paying him, so it's not. So in a realistic terms, in terms of his wages, if you say you pay him 150, 175, I don't actually think Newcastle could afford those wages. Let's be honest.
Right now, I don't think they can put those wages. No, right now, on the revenue side of it and that, Newcastle cannot do that. 2 years, they're going to be able to smash us.
It's all to do with the income. Over Bruno Guimaraes' extension that they couldn't afford to pay him a certain amount per week because of financial.
So are we saying that anyone Newcastle go in for this summer that's any good, they won't get because they can't afford the wages?
No. I'm just saying that there is. He's not. What's Kane on? 250, 300. Whatever.
Yeah, 250 and he or something like that.
275.
So they're not going to go that high. But if you turn around to James Madison, let's just say, like we're saying, right, James, 50 Leicester, 50 million. James, we're going to pay 175 grand a week. Yes or no? Which we won't. But are we going to be in more of a? I don't think Newcastle can afford to pay 175 grand a week to get Madison.
No, I hear you. By the way, lots of people saying Spurs can do better than Madison. I'm sorry, I must be living under a rock.
He's perfect for what we need up front. Absolutely perfect. His only down part, he does get a couple of injuries here and there. But Kane's proved you can have a couple of injury season and then you don't.
Yeah,
we are going
to need what we need.
We are going to need to sign some English players down the track. If we're going to be ripping up a load of contracts, we're going to need some more homegrown players.
I agree.
That is the only reason we're going to keep Eric Dyer. That is the only reason we're going to keep him.
I don't think
he's homegrown, is he?
He's Portuguese.
No, he comes under homegrown. As far as I remember,
sure? I'm pretty sure he doesn't.
He doesn't.
I might be wrong there, but as far as I know, he come under homegrown.
He comes under homegrown for the Champions League, but he doesn't come under homegrown for Premier League.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Fair enough.
Just quickly, the next super chat was Jamal. Thank you very much. He said Aston Villa took Buendia from Arsenal. They're not new to competing for players. Listen, I agree with you. I don't think it's overwhelming, but hey, it is what it is. I am very excited to wait for Mr. Box Office. He's going to be joining us soon, and I want to give a bit of context to a conversation.
The Waffle House.
To a conversation that me and Mr. Box Office had this morning, and I don't know in which WhatsApp group it was in. I think Perchie might have been in it. Right,
it's in ours, yeah.
So. Mr. Box Office this morning has said to me, now you guys, right, collectively as a chat, right, as everyone in the chat, all had a go at me for saying that Villa were more attractive than Spurs. Well, Mr. Box Office this morning has claimed that West Ham are more attractive to players for Spurs. Now, like a good little Spurs fan, I jumped in line, didn't I, Perchie, and said, Alex, this is yet another awful take. Now, Alex finishes work at midday.
Bring him on.
Alex has finished work at midday, so I'm waiting for him. I'm desperately waiting for him.
We're going to get some. For this one.
He's not here yet. I'm waiting for him. But, guys, just before he comes, is there anyone on this panel that thinks purely because West Ham won the Conference League that all of a sudden players will rather go to West Ham than Tottenham Hotspur?
No. Not in a million years. Not in a million years. You know, they're being run by a sugar protege. Karen Brady is on over $1 million a year, and they've sold their soul. Even though I hate West Ham, I still feel sorry for them that they had to move away from their ground to that soulless athletics track.
Their supporters hate it. Their supporters absolutely hate it there. West Ham used to be a deadly place to go to because you had the fans basically sitting next, the players basically had the fans sitting next to them. It was an awful place to go to for the players. And the fans there are distraught. I know a few West Ham supporters, and they hate their new ground because there's such a distance from the actual pitch.
And they should change their nickname, you know, because they're Stratford FC now, and they're near like the biggest Westfield in London. They should be, come on, you shoppers.
Yeah, no, they have got something. They have got something in their favour that their kit does look very, very similar to Aston Villa. And because Villa and all these foreign players,
the player might get confused when he looks
exactly.
At them, like,
Brilliant! We're
going to. Shit, that was West Ham.
Exactly. We're off to London. Oh, we're off. You know, and they end up in Birmingham. You know what I mean? That could be a factor to take into consideration, or vice versa. So you never know.
Nothing away from West Ham for what they've done. Do you know?
No.
We all dissed the cup and everything. If we'd have gone and won it, we'd have done exactly what West Ham did and go into like overload. Yeah. And that is one of Spurs' biggest problems. Tottenham have a habit of just looking down at things too much. I find a lot of Tottenham supporters are too stuck up their own backside for their own good. And we are not a world-class club. We are not up there with the best. I still believe we are only just stronger than Aston Villa, but I think we are still miles ahead of West Ham.
I personally disagree, and I was waiting patiently to come on, and I've enjoyed the banter. But if I were a player, right, and there's the if again, because I used to be, but there is something that people forget, right? And I'm also a very fervent Barcelona supporter since I was 4 years old, the same as I am a Spurs supporter since I was 4 years old. Matteo Alemany, right, who is Barcelona's CEO, or he's top dog at Barcelona, actually left Barcelona to go to Aston Villa. Now, why wouldn't he go to Spurs? Why wouldn't he go to wherever? And why would he end up at Aston Villa, of all places? Because they're going places, because they've got a project. He actually turned around and said, no, I want to stay, because he believed in the project, right? But he was going to Villa because they've got Unai Emery, because they've got players, because they're buying, because the stadium is whatever, it's third place or fifth place down the list. But if Villa weren't that attractive, Matteo Alemany, right, who Florentino Perez, who's Real Madrid, president, long-standing president, who wanted at the club and has been after for so many years, he couldn't sign, right? This guy wouldn't be on Aston Villa's radar, you see. So if Villa weren't attractive, he wouldn't go there, right? He wouldn't even be considering Aston Villa. Birmingham, London, all this debate, right? If location were an issue, why would people be going to Manchester? I mean, I've never been to Manchester, but you can hear the Argentinian players say, Jesus, the weather's shit. I'd nothing to do. I'd go training and I'd be staying at home and then I'd go training the next morning or in the afternoon. And the weather's shit, nothing to do. Right? So if that were anything that players would have to take into consideration, everyone would be going to Brighton.
Yeah, but you've just used Man U and Man City. It's like, I mean, come on.
No.
I
didn't mention Man City. I'm saying Man U.
You said Manchester. That is Man U and Man City.
I said Manchester as a location.
Okay,
right?
Purely as a location, but look at
Purely
the
as
size
a
of the
purely
two
as
clubs.
exactly. So if I were a player,
I mean, what's
okay,
the word?
and context, exactly, context. So if I were a player and I'm saying where am I? Okay, I'm a foreign player, right? And I'm looking to go to sign a, wherever. Oh, England, Premier League, brilliant, best league in the world, blah blah blah. Where am I going to go then? Oh, London, because it's the capital. Where's the sunniest place? Brighton, Bournemouth, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to say, wherever you want to go. I'm not going to Newcastle because we know what happened to Tino Asprilla, whenever he signed for Newcastle. You saw his bloody, 16-inch coat whenever he got off the bloody plane and landed at Newcastle. He was bloody freezing, a bloody Colombian. So, we wouldn't choose Newcastle as the first option, would we? We'd go south. We'd go for the, warmer climate. But people go to Manchester United, for example, or Manchester City now because they have
the size of them two clubs. You are using the wrong two clubs as an example here, yeah?
I'm talking about location and now.
Right, location and
which,
now,
which,
yeah?
Which
but
is
we
exactly
were talking about Villa and Spurs.
Yes, but which
is
Manchester. No, but I'm trying to give it context.
But you're using you're using a poor example here.
No, I'm trying to detail it. If you just give me 2 seconds, right? If you take location out of it, which is why you have to take location out of it, because if not, people wouldn't go to Newcastle. They wouldn't go to Manchester United. You have to take into consideration the project, where a club is going, right? Spurs are going downwards, right? And we have been for quite a few years.
Yeah, we have.
Right? And Villa, which is a worse location, is Birmingham, all the love to the people, right? But they're going upwards, right? So to a certain extent, stadium, for example, apparently Spurs have got the best stadium in the world, right? Well, Ten Hag as a manager turned us down, and we've got the best stadium in the world. So stadium doesn't mean a bloody thing because he's gone to a shithole, which is Old Trafford, that's falling, I don't know, since World War II, hasn't been bloody renewed.
Which is about the third richest club on the bloody planet.
And it means nothing.
Biggest club on the planet, and that means nothing.
We're not the third richest. We're not the third richest. That's
means
not
nothing.
That's not what those finance reports said.
And it means nothing. The riches that your club.
Oh, he's gone.
All I'm going to say before Mr. Box Office speaks, because obviously we need to give him his platform, the main event, and the Professor of Truth Entertainment. He's going to go around in circles. He's going to talk about Keith Birkinshaw. He's going to talk. He's going to talk about trophies, and he's going to waffle a lot. And then he's going to say, "That's it. Back to you, Savva. I'm done."
Well, come on.
So just before I bring you in, Alex. First of all, there's still 400 people in this chat at this time of the morning, which is brilliant. Please keep liking. Thank you for the 9 people who have subscribed to me during the show. Sod off to the 3 that did unsubscribe. Sod off to you lot. Guys, I'm 8 away from 5,700. Please smash the subscribe button if you can. Please, let's get the likes to 200. We're currently sitting on 176. And Mr. Pox Office, he always appears when you appear, Alex. It is your burner account. Has said, still itchy, bruv. Back to you, Savva. Now, guys and girls, if anyone ever wants something they can clip, if anyone ever wants to see, this is what it's about. It's about theatre. So when we do these shows and then I see the comments and YouTube channels where everyone's digging out Alex and digging out me and Savva did this and Sean did this and Stell did this and Barry. Guys, it's YouTube. We all understand how it works. It's all here. It's all a bit of theatre. We're all talking a bit of football, all right? Don't take it as seriously because we don't take it that seriously behind the scenes, all right? We're all in WhatsApp groups, bantering with each other, arguing, rowing. Don't take it so extreme. Mr. Box Office, how are you?
I'm good. I'm still on vacation, like some of the Tottenham players, like I said before. And I'll wait till next season when they'll turn up, like next season, you know what I mean? So hopefully they'll turn up next season. But yeah, I'm still waiting.
Okay. So, Alex, I'm going to make this a regular segment on my morning shows where I have loads of guests, we have good debates, and then you come on and give us one of your absolute waffly nonsense comments. So I'm going to set this up nicely. Alex, you told me this morning, in as many words, not in as many words, in exact words, that West Ham are a more attractive opportunity to players than Tottenham Hotspur. Is that correct?
Yes.
The floor is yours. The floor is yours.
Okay,
Explain.
so you said you want context. You said you want context, yeah? They just won a trophy, yeah? A European trophy, bro. Yeah, so that's context for you. You know what I mean? The trophy that we bottled it under Antonio Conte last year, that everyone was having a go at me last year and said to me, "Oh, Alex, what are you talking about? It's a Tin Pot Cup." Well, the Tin Pot Cup that Roma won, by the way, our reject manager, which I didn't like, by the way. I wanted him out a long time ago as well. Never wanted him. By the way, I was right about him all day long. I said we should never sack Pochettino, but we're not going to go there again, are we? But the point I'm making is, okay, that's a European trophy, right? Yeah, the teams are okay, yeah, but it's a European trophy. Yeah, they're going into Europa League as well, okay, on the back of winning a trophy. So for me, they look a very better bet than Tottenham Hotspur that have done nothing. You know what I mean? They've done absolutely nothing.
Not for me.
And that's it. And it's listen, I've got no, but I predicted this last season. I said I was worried about them winning Europa League last season. And if they didn't get,
hang on, you're doing that for your drifting.
No, no. I'm talking about
drifting.
No. You're stopping me, and you're not even hearing the context. You're not hearing the context of it. No, because you like to say your own thing to think, oh, that makes sense to you. No. That's naughty now, Savva. Because you're not hearing the context.
Go on, then.
You should listen to your boy Kuva, because Kuva listens. Kuva listens to me, and he talks a lot of sense. So make some sense out of that, bro. My point is, okay, right? Well, last year they could have won Europa League, yeah.
Right.
They could have won Europa League if they got past What was his name? What was it? Who was it now?
Frankfurt, wasn't it?
Frankfurt. If they got past Frankfurt, they would have beaten Rangers. And then look what happened.
Well, I mean, that's all ifs, buts, and maybes, because they didn't get past Frankfurt, did they?
Yeah, but they could have done it. They could have done it. The warning was there.
We could have won the Premier League. We could have won the Premier League if we'd won 20 more games. But
Savva, I could be married by now. You know what I mean? I'm still waiting. So I'm sorry, I don't even know where we're going with this. You know what I mean? I could be really so I don't even know what you're going with this. Like, you know what I mean? You know, so I don't even know where you're going with this. You know what I mean? I'm still if some maybes, like I said before. You know. So if you want to talk about context, yeah, that's context for you, and that's it. And now I'm handing it back to you, and that's all I need to say back to you, Savva.
I'm going to hand
stupid now, bruv, yeah? Back to you, Savva, to say something stupid now, and I'm done.
I'm going to hand it straight back to you, Mr. Waffle House. And what I'm going to say is this. First of all, I predicted this has nothing to do with whether or not West Ham are a bigger attraction for players than Spurs. You might have predicted West Ham to win the Conference League. I've not seen you say it anywhere. I'm going to be honest. I've not seen you say it anywhere when you're saying you predicted this last year. Second of all, if they'd beaten Frankfurt, cool. All right. If we had beaten Liverpool in a Champions League final, we didn't. They didn't. That's how life works. Do you know what I mean? If I bumped into Margot Robbie, I'm not going to, right? These things haven't happened, Alex. So I'm going to ask you this. Yes, West Ham done very well winning a European competition. They can have their banter against us. They've been more successful than us recently in terms of winning that competition. In the grand scheme of things, Alex, with context, look at their squad. They were involved in a relegation battle this year. Do you truly believe that, and I'll use the James Madison example again, if Spurs went in for James Madison and West Ham went in for James Madison, you truly believe that James Madison is picking West Ham United over Tottenham Hotspur?
It'll be a close one, I'll be honest with you.
Hang on, I've got a WhatsApp here.
Really?
I've got a WhatsApp here, Alex, which isn't that answer. That's not the answer you gave. Do you want me to read it out? Here we go. Here's the conversation between me and Alex this morning. I'm going to read it out, Alex. All banter.
Yes,
ready? God, there's loads of it. Here we go. Here we go. Ridiculous. Right. So I said, laugh out loud. So now all players will want to join West Ham over Spurs. You said, if we go by your logic, nothing right, because it has to be factually correct. And I said, Alex, there is opinions and there is common sense. And then you said, that's not true. I said, okay, so do you think Madison would choose West Ham over Spurs? To which you said, I would say yes. Can everyone read that? I would say yes.
Truth coming out now.
I then
We
said,
are not that bad.
this is as bad as your Erling Haaland view.
Yes.
Right?
Oh my gosh,
to
he's got a boon
to which
bonnet
you,
about this, hasn't
to
he?
which you came back and said,
Bloody hell.
"Oh, we're back on Haaland again, are
Oh,
we?" And I said,
bloody hell.
"Yes,
I need
because
the
it's
violin for this,
sensational
honestly.
opinions." I said, "Give me 10 context." I gave you context. You just don't want to listen.
It's true. It's true.
And
I'm sorry. I love Savva.
Alex, I've not finished.
Absolutely
Alex, I've
love
not finished.
Savva.
Alex, I've not finished. You can come in 1 second.
Yeah.
To which Alex then came out with another corker. Alex then not thinking that his opinion about that was bad enough. Alex then came out with this pearl, this absolute gem. And this is why I love you so much, Alex. Alex then came out with this. I put, there is no context. West Ham are not a bigger draw than Spurs. If you think a player would pick them over us, this is just balmy. To which Alex responded word for word. I think West Ham are bigger. I also think Declan Rice is thinking about staying at West Ham now that they've won the European competition. To which Perchie went, ha, 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 ha. To which you put, what's funny, Perchie? Yeah. I think it sends a statement. They're in a better position now, and I think he would rather have won something than nothing at all. To which Perchie and I said, the West Ham owner has confirmed Declan Rice is leaving, to which you said, we'll see.
The West Ham owner said it live.
Has it happened? But has it happened?
Oh my
Give it a chance. Give it a chance. He was in a European final 48 hours ago.
But how is it? Has it happened yet, though? Yeah, and when you when you looked at his face on Wednesday, he was crying his eyes out. Yeah,
yeah,
like,
that was
just
probably
won
his last game.
A European Cup
competition
with European Cup with his boyhood club. Yeah, so for me, it changes the narrative a little bit, doesn't it?
Okay, he's staying. So he's staying. 100%. He's staying at West Ham.
Well, no, I'm just saying there's a chance he's staying. I'm not saying he can't.
That's not what you said. You said I think he stays at West Ham now.
Don't go round that roundabout again.
No, I'm saying no. I've said to you that he could stay. Yeah, he could stay.
I've got it here. You said I think he stays.
No. I think writing can be. I think writing can be on the WhatsApp group can be construed as something else.
He's gone.
My point is that
see you later.
He could. Pardon?
The second someone puts in 90 million for him, as long as they put in the right money for him, he's off. Baked potato. See you later, mate. He's gone.
He's turned down to.
He can go up to the top.
Hopefully he's gone. Hopefully he's gone. But the point I'm making is,
like he's going to. I hope he bloody don't. They're saying he's going Arsenal, and that is one thing.
To be honest,
whether that happens or not, who knows? Declan Rice is gone, mate. As long as someone puts the money in,
well,
we'll see.
We'll see what happens. They need to put the money down,
well,
don't they?
He's turned down 200 grand a week.
Can put down the money for it.
He turned down 200 grand a week before West Ham weren't winning nothing. That's the point I'm making.
He turned it down after the final.
So can I ask a question then, Alex?
He turned it down after the final.
Let me ask you a question. So Declan Rice, right? Okay, let's assume he thinks, you know what? I want to stay at West Ham. What about West Ham makes him think, right, we've won that now. We are going to kick on and we are going to be a club fighting for honours, because that's what he wants, like a Premier Leagues and wanting to play with better players. Do you truly believe that makes him want to stay at West Ham when the West Ham owner has said he's leaving?
Well, no, I'm just saying that there's a chance that he might think about it. He might think about it. That's what I'm saying. There might be a chance.
Here, mate. You're stuttering a bit.
No, I'm not stuttering. No, you are stuttering. Bo. I know you're new to this, bruv, yeah, but don't disrespect Mr. Box Office, bruv, yeah. You can ask Savva. You can ask Savva. You can ask Mr. Cash. By the way, I'm never a foul. And the other guy that I don't even know his name because I don't know nothing about him. Yeah, what happens when you disrespect Mr. Box Office? Yeah,
I didn't disrespect.
Don't even go there because you start the bear starts biting. That's it, Bob. The point is,
I haven't disrespected
Alex, do you? You don't bite with your best mate.
So my point is, okay. right? Okay, I'm not saying that it's not impossible. He's not going to leave. I'm not saying that. Yeah, my point is,
I've got you saying it here.
I'm allowed to have a point, by the way, because I've got my own head. By the way, my point is that he might think about staying because of what the glory he's just had right now. You can see it in his face. He was happy as Larry, wasn't he? You know,
of course he was, because it was his last game and he just won a cup. Of course he's going to be bloody happy.
Alex, Declan Rice will leave West Ham this summer. Club chairman David Sullivan has confirmed.
When it happens, doesn't it?
Alex, exactly.
That means that teams need to get an offer in and get it done quickly, don't they?
Exactly. That is the only way he doesn't go nowhere. If anyone only, and I do say only, offered 50 million for him, then he ain't going. But that is not going to happen. Be realistic. Someone is going to offer 80 million.
You're talking to me like I'm like deluded here. My point is, I said to you, no. You're talking to me like I don't know. I said to you, that's fine. Yeah, they need to do that then. They need to just make the offer and then do that then, isn't it? That's what I'm saying.
You definitely don't know, Alex.
That is what is going to happen.
Well, hopefully it does.
If they would have stood there, no, hang on a second, yeah. If he would have stood there like 2 days, a week, 2 weeks before the game and said, I'm going to leave West Ham, that would have been as stupid as what Tottenham did when they sacked Mourinho a week before the bloody final. He weren't going to do it, was he? No. So he was going to wait until last game of the season, and then it turned out they got a European Cup, won the European Cup. He was in tears, happy, loved it, glory. Now he can go to a team that can challenge for the league and the Champions League and everything else.
There you go, Alex.
That's realism for you.
There you go, Alex. Bids are going soon.
I don't even know where we're going with saying that reasoning, Bob, because I'm the same guy last season that was saying that we were KLFC last season, bro. I'm the same guy that was saying that West Ham weren't that bad. I said West Ham were
away, are we? We're pivoting away.
I'm the same guy that said we were bang average last season. Look what's happened this season, Bob. So my receipts have been coming so many times, Bob. So don't even go in there with me, Bob, Mr. Savva, and everyone in the panel right now, because I've mudded all of you lot so much that I've made your lives look like you need to respect Mr. Box Office. So don't go there with me, man. Do not go there with me. Yeah,
Alex,
you know what I mean?
Alex,
I came in calm.
Do you know the moment?
Came in calm, and now you try it, Mr. Box Office again. Like I said, if you don't know, get to know, yeah? Because truth has been running out of my mouth for so long, and that's it. And that's all I need to say. Back to you, Savva. Okay. To say something stupid now, I'm done.
First and foremost, I do think it has been long overdue for you to call me Mr. Savva on my show. So thank you for that. Second of all, I always know when you've lost an argument. I always know when you've lost an argument because you go, I'm the same person that said this about Kane and Spurs. I think we all said Spurs were an utter shambles last year and would be crap without Harry Kane.
Not everybody.
It's okay, most of us, Alex. But the fact that you pivoted to that away from Declan Rice and West Ham, which has nothing to do with Tottenham, shows that you completely went down a different tangent. Third of all, Mr. If you don't know, get to know. All right, Alex, what do you know about Ange Postecoglou? I don't need to know. Well, hang on. Your catchphrase is your catchphrase is if you don't know, get to know. But you're telling people that you don't need to get to know, that he's got to show you. So which one is it, Alex? Do we all need to get to know, but it's just you that doesn't need to get to know? What's going on?
Tell me what the lottery numbers are next week, mate, and I'll shake your hand and give you half the bloody money.
If you don't know, you don't have to know.
You don't need to know unless you're Alex, and everyone else needs to get to know.
I don't know where the logic's coming out of this. Again, I think I've explained it already. I don't really want to repeat myself again.
Yeah, and there was no logic. That's where the logic
he needs to convince me. I don't even know where this is going. Like, you know what I mean?
D-boy, this is stupid because the owners have said he's leaving.
Like I said, when he gets to the club and he does what he does, yeah, and proves to me, and proves to the fans, and proves to the board as well. Because, like I said before, I know this club. Yeah, right. I've seen this club mess up with managers before. I've seen different eras at Tottenham loads of times. So I've seen this before. I've seen words from Daniel Levy as well saying, "Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this." Okay, right. Okay, he looks good on paper. Great. I've seen this before. I've seen this so many times. Again, you got to prove. You got to convince me. You've got to convince me. Because when we have a 3 or 4 game or 5 game bad run, what's going to happen? Tell me what's going to happen.
Again, a completely different point.
No, it's not a completely different point. No, you're saying no. You're spinning the narrative again.
Will do.
No,
the fans will do.
You're
versus...
completely You are completely. You've got to be strong with you. You've got to be strong with you, Savva. I'll tell you, because sometimes you just pour on to something else, saying I'm not answering the question. The point I'm making is, and you're not answering my question. I said to you that I need to be convinced, because if he has a bad 5 to 4 game run, which he even mentioned on his documentary, by the way, mentioned it on his documentary, by the way, yeah, because I watched that.
So you did do the research.
So you watched that, by the way.
Yeah, well done.
You did it.
So don't go there with me. I'm quoting what he said, by the way. Yeah, what's going to happen? Yeah, what is going to happen? Yeah, are the board going to have itchy feet and say, "Oh, this ain't working now. Let's scrap it now." You know what I mean?
Alex, what's that got to do with you doing some research on him right now?
But he did it, Savva. It doesn't matter.
I know he's done it, but he didn't want to do it. But then he realised that if you don't know, you better get to know. So if I don't know, I should know. We all know.
He got to know. You got to know, Alex. It's not
even that. If I did any research, it's just that I watched something, and just because my boy Danny, even though he's my boy, he's still deluded. My point is, you know what I mean? Yeah,
he's got some sense. I don't know who he is, but he got some sense at least. Because he got to you.
Yeah, well, he's my boy, bruv. He's my boy, but he's still deluded.
Good. That's all right.
He's still my boy. He's still deluded. But my point is, he got me saying, okay, listen to it. I watched it. Okay, I'm still saying, still convinced me. Yeah, and by the way, Savva, I did that for charity, for your charity, by the way. So again, be appreciated. That's it. I love you, Savva. I absolutely love you, Savva. At least you're not like Barry. Yeah, Barry who tries to gets his 5 minutes of fame off Mr. Box Office.
He's going for Barry now. Go on, go for Barry.
You know what I mean?
No, 5 minutes of fame off Mr. Box Office.
Go on, Alex. Tell us how bad Barry is. Go for it.
Oh, he's awful. He just digs holes for himself. I mean, all I need to say is Emerson. He says Emerson's the best right back in the country. Are you having a laugh?
No, he's the best right back at this club, Alex. I never said.
I've heard Spencer right back, club.
Where I have said Emerson Royale is the best right back in the country.
Well, you keep on bigging him up, though, bro.
He's the best right back at his football club. So
he's not back at Tottenham at the moment.
You're in the mud again, Alex.
So are you going to say anything more?
What's your next point, Alex? What else are you going to say?
Gosh, I don't know.
Anyway,
you know what? I've taken too much of Savva's time. Let the people.
We love you, man.
Let Dan and the other guy, Chris, have their moments. Yeah, because Mr. Box has got his channel ready to make himself known.
I'm ending the show in a second anyway, Alex. I'm ending the show in a second. Yeah, cool. Listen, it's always good fun. If anyone would like Alex's address, message him, and you can all send him packs of mud so he can sit and mud himself all day, every day.
You're not getting my address, so you're having a laugh.
We'll find you. We'll do our research and we'll find you.
And if we don't know, we'll get to know, won't we? We'll find it, mate. We'll find it.
Alex, can I just say something? Sorry, Savva. I don't know you personally, obviously not, but I think you're brilliant, man. I really do. I just and I didn't. If I lack some respect or whatever, what you said before, it wasn't my intention. I was just answering a question or whatever. I think you're brilliant, man. I just think you're the dog's bollocks, man. I think you're brilliant.
Respect to Dan as well. Respect to Dan as well. Yeah, for coming on as well. And respect to you, Chris, for coming on.
I love it, man.
Respect for me or you, Savva, yeah?
Yeah, no. Savva, I respect you. I need you in the fan base, Bob. You're like Sean. I need you in the fan base because I need to be challenged anyway, regardless. Anyway, you know what I mean. So,
I'm subscribed to you as well, Alex. So,
thank you very much.
You can send me some mud in the post.
That's right.
Right, listen, people. I've got one more super chat. We are going to end the show. Jamie Allen has said Alex over Savva. Damn right. Just remember this, Jamie, when we see a picture of Declan Rice holding up a shirt of anything that is not West Ham in a few weeks' time. I will be getting Alex on and mudding that boy for fun. Every time Alex makes one of these opinions, I'm going to clip it and release it as a clip later in the evening, like I did last night. It's all banter. Listen, thank you very much to everyone who's joined in. Thank you for all the super chats. Thanks, Dan, for coming on. Really appreciate it, mate.
Really enjoyed it. Love to do it again, mate. I quite happy to debate it all day long.
People are always welcome. Listen, I always give people in the chat You know, if they want to come on, I'm always saying come on, rather than digging out. People come on, we have a chat, and you have a good laugh as well. Chris, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate
my
it,
pleasure,
my friend.
Thanks, Barry, Alex, cool.
Barry is in the mud for something. Alex said so, but thanks for coming on during your mud time, Barry. Thanks, really appreciate it.
Savva, yeah.
And Alex, I look forward to seeing you over the weekend at some point, delivering yet more bad opinions on stuff. So thank you, Alex. Please subscribe. I'm now 4 subscribers away from 5,700. If 4 of you could go over and subscribe, that would be amazing. Please like the stream. We are on 199. If one person go and smash it for 200, thank you very much. And as always, here is a video of a team that actually won something. Take care, guys.
Take it easy, people.
And here comes Hurst. He's got some people are on the pitch. They think it's all over.